Yikes. Now there's a thrill ride. Welcome back to the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox, presented by Toyota. Well, here is our race course. That long uphill straightaway headed for turn number 1, the signature corner on this course.
Yeah, and when you look at this racetrack, you see all that elevation and everything that comes with the racetrack. It's just, there's a lot of action that happens in turn 1, 4, 5 wide, all the chaos that happens. You just want to survive turn 1 and put yourself in a position to get to the exit of turn 2.
Now they work their way down through the S's after turn number 2 and down into the only area where track limits will be enforced.
Yeah, and the reason that they're pushing these limits are the entry to 6A right here. You want to get as far to the right as possible. There's a bump in the middle of this corner. It puts you in a vulnerable position like we saw right there. If you cut somebody off, you're going to go straight into those tire barriers. But this section right here has added a whole new element to this racetrack with bumps in the entry of both 6A and 6B. So a lot of track limits being pushed through the S's to try to get those corners set up right. As you see those cars jump up off the corner right there onto the back straightaway.
Now, if you violate track limits down there, we'll show you where you end up. You go through 12, 13, and then you'll go off track to serve a penalty between 13 and 14 in the stadium section here.
Yeah, you will. You do not want to do that. That takes you all the way back to those S's, but I like this part of the section. This is section 3, what we call it. The money is made right here. 20 coming onto the front row to take the checkered flag. This track is awesome. I love the enhancements of it. I love, shaving a mile off of this track. I think it'll enhance our experience today for sure. A lot of racing, a lot of passing.
So track limits in practice. Turn 5 was the trouble spot. Why?
Well, like I say, they want to set this up to try to get as far to the right as possible. And you see right there, they go as far inside as possible so they can get all the way back to the right with as wide an entry as you can set up. But they want to cut these. You can't cut in below those red and white curves right there, the candy canes as you want to call them.
Yeah, then you'll stop and serve your penalty here, and then you all of a sudden you stay obviously in between the green lines and back onto the racetrack. If you go all 4 below those lines in the S's, that's where you serve the penalty.
Kind of a joker lap outside the course to serve that penalty once it's called. All right, let's meet our pole sitter.
Let's dial him up. Hey, Tyler Reddick, Explorer and the boys up in the booth. You got us?
I got you guys.
Man, what a wonderful day yesterday for 2311. You and your teammate on the front row. This is a good racetrack for you. Changed a little bit, right? Shorter racetrack, softer tires. What's your challenges today? How do you keep these boys behind you?
Yeah, I think you hit it. It's different Goodyear tire. Obviously, we got a little bit of an understanding of it yesterday, but seeing how it really plays out past 10 laps on tires, I think those that hang on the best will be the cars that stay up front all day. So we're going to get a feel for it here to start.
Well, man, it says Beast on your helmet. That's certainly what you are. Good luck out there. Keep it up.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the race.
All right, let's have a look at the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix starting grid. Tyler Reddick and his teammate at 2311, a pair of Toyotas on the front row. That's Bubba Wallace. Row number 2, Chase Elliott. 7 road course wins, including the first one here. And Carson Hocevar, the star of Atlanta last week. Everybody's talking about him.
Row number 3, Daniel Suarez. Couple Trackhouse cars right on his outside. Shane Van Gisbergen.
Well, let's dial him up, Clint. Hey, Shane, Kevin up in the Fox booth. Man, it's been fun to watch your progression through the last couple of years. Now that you've got a permanent home with Trackhouse, what do you think we're in for today, buddy?
Hey, afternoon, mate. Yeah, all good here. Feeling pretty comfortable. I got a great team around me, the 88 crew, and WeatherTech tomorrow has been really strong. But yeah, feeling comfortable. Just keep the car straight the first few laps, see where we're at, and try and progress to the front there.
What are you expecting that tire wear to be like today?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if anyone else does either, and if they tell you they do, they're probably lying. But I think about 15 laps into the run, we'll find out in the first stage, and that'll set up if people are going to 2-stop or 3-stop. I think there's a lot of variability here, so hopefully it's a good race for you guys to watch.
All right, man. Good luck.
That's the best answer I've heard all yet. All right, row number 4. These guys know how to get around a road course. 6 times he's won on road courses. Number 5, Kyle Larson on his outside. Number 11, Kyle Busch.
Row 5, we've got Ross Chastain, who's had a ton of success here, and Todd Gilliland, who could surprise some people today. Row 6, we've got Denny Hamlin and A.J. Allmendinger, who has been lights out on the road courses.
Row number 7, Ty Gibbs in a Toyota, and 18-year-old Connor Zilic making his Cup debut. Regan Smith.
Mike, it's been a long time since we've had a driver enter the Cup Series with as much hype as Connor Zilic is doing today at 18 years old, but that hype is much deserved. His initial Truck Series start at COTA 1 year ago, sat on the pole, nearly won the race. His Xfinity debut at Watkins Glen last year, sat on the pole, won the race. Xfinity race yesterday, there's a theme here, sat on the pole and won the race again. He is young, he is fast, he's aggressive, and he is mature beyond his years. The job today for the team, help him learn this car and this tire, put him in position at the end of the race so he can go do what he knows how to do.
Well, since it's his Cup debut, a little early to put him on our list of road course ringers. But the drivers who excel on these type of circuits, well, there are the 3 only ones who finished in the top 10 in every race here. William Byron, 70 laps led here. Chris Buescher leads all drivers in the next-gen car here for average finish. Kyle Larson's led 1, 2 of the last 4 on road courses. A.J. Allmendinger with 3 career wins. And you know Shane Van Gisbergen's stats as we welcome Caitlin Vinci.
Thank you, Mike. Well, you were just talking about William Byron. Had a chance to talk with his crew chief, Rudy Fugel, earlier today. He told me practice didn't go as well as he had hoped, but then when they went to qualifying, didn't exactly put down the best lap either, which is why they're starting a little bit deeper in the field. That team qualified 15th for the race today. But he said William has emerged as one of the best road course racers in this Cup Series garage, and he just attributes that to all the growth and maturing he has had as a competitor over the years. Of course, Rudy has been with him since his Truck Series days, but William Byron won this race a year ago and looking to replicate that today. Josh Sims?
Well, Ross Chastain is one of those 3 drivers that's finished top 10 in every single race here in Austin, including a win in 2022. And when I talked to the team earlier today, I asked them what's the key to that success. They told me all those races played out very differently, but Ross has a knack for getting around this place and putting himself in contention, and the team at the same time has found a way to keep up with the track. Now, he's got the track position to begin starting 9th in this race, so look for him to be a factor like he's been in the past as he looks for win number 2 here in Austin.
Thanks, Josh. Busch Light's giving you a chance to win $1,000. Follow at Busch Beer on X and enter using hashtag Busch all for one. Hashtag sweepstakes during every lap that ends in a 1 for your chance to win. Let's check with our crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Mike, this road course is 2.4 miles with 17 turns. Every turn is different, and it can be a challenge to get your race car to handle good through all those turns. Over the course of a run, about all the driver can do is adjust his driving style. But let's go to our Toyota Tech car, and let's show you one other thing this driver can adjust. It's called the brake bias. The car actually has 2 brake systems, a front and a rear. There's the knob that's normally located on the dash. He can adjust the front and rear bias. Now let's go down to the master cylinders that's in the floorboard. Again, you've got a front, you've got a rear. If the car is loose getting in the corner on the braking, he can start cranking some front brake into it. Just crank as much as you need. Now, if the car won't turn or is tight getting in the corner, he'll start to crank some rear brake into it. My experience says you want to really crank some rear brake into it to make that car turn into braking. Guys, this is something they'll be adjusting on all day long, and they're going to wear the paint off that knob.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's especially with a softer tire, hot conditions on this racing surface, that means they're going to wear out even more, trying to keep that temperature out of these tires, right? And all that comes through the braking. Have to be able to make a good balance on the cars and keep the tires happy.
And aren't some of these drivers adjusting the bias more than once a lap?
Yeah, and they are, and they'll use them. There's so many different styles of corners on this racetrack that you have to almost adjust the brake knobs on every lap to make yourself be in a good position to not slide the tire and maximize the braking potential of the car.
Beautiful day for a race. Track temp 102 degrees. 95 laps is the length of the race today. There are the stage lengths and the fuel window. Let's get the keys to the race, sponsored by Toyota, from Larry.
Well, Mike, Kevin touched on it. Make it through turn 1 on restarts. You can't win this race in the first 50 or 60 laps. Get in trouble up there, you can flat lose it. Make that final pit stop at the right time. That could absolutely be critical, and I should have had them put it, and they did, in all capital letters. You talked about it, Mike. Beware of track limits. It will kill your day.
Absolutely. That stop and go penalty will be key. There's the pace car for today. The Toyota GR Supra leads the field here in Austin. And here is some radio traffic from Connor Zilich and team.
So what you've been doing all that prep work for, you've done a great job. Remember, this is going to be the first of many, many, many. Let's go out here and have a little fun, get this thing up front.
Yeah, thank you, Darian. Everyone on the 87 team, I know you guys don't do this all the time, but appreciate you coming out here with me, and just got to execute all day, and we'll be good.
Driver Connor Zilich, crew chief Darian Grubb, who's been to victory lane in the Daytona 500 and many of these Cup races.
You see Bubba Wallace on that outside front row. Man, great opportunity to kind of right the ship here for him. This has not been a good racetrack for him.
So in the post-qualifying interview yesterday, they were together, our front row starters, Reddick and Wallace, and they asked each other, who's going to lift first going into turn number 1? Bubba said, I will. Let's see, as the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix gets the green flag. Whoa! 4 wide. Okay, 5 wide. Whoa!
Look out.
Who came diving up the inside? That was Ross Chastain, and he turned Chase around. Good grief.
It'll be like middle there.
Well, that's
Gilliland involved too.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. You have to protect yourself in turn 1, and Ross Chastain just went for a dive bomb move right there and just wiped out Chase Elliott.
It was not a very smart move there. He won't be happy. Chase Elliott will not be happy with that and shouldn't be.
Well, very similar to the start of the IndyCar race at St. Pete with a crash on the first lap, but these cars are so durable. They may not even need a pit stop. Oh, Zilich off pace there, or off track, is it?
Yeah, and as we go back and see that, I'm sure that there was some sort of contact with all that action and 5 wide there in the first corner. But that's what happens here. That corner is super inviting. Let's see what happened, Clint.
Well, you could see him flying to the inside, and he was actually crossed over too and just kept going, couldn't get stopped, run right into the left rear of the 9 car and spun him out. I mean, it's as simple as that. You called it, Kevin. I mean, that's Calamity Corner. It has been forever and certainly was. You can see him all the way back there.
Yeah, and that's
Chase Elliott had no clue he was coming.
Yeah, and you just put yourself in a position to end your day right there.
The right front is down on Connor Zilich from contact, and Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, and I think Denny Hamlin's car, I mean, the fender is missing, but it doesn't look like he has the issue that Zilich has with the tire being down. So,
well, did they get into one another? The left side of Zilich's car was marked up as well.
Boy, in turn 1, that's going to be Calamity Corner all day. 2 wide, 3 wide into there.
This track has already proven to be that. We're not even a lap in. Cars wrecked, people mad.
And Bubba Wallace did exactly what he said. He eased it up to turn 1, up the hill for Tyler Reddick to lead with his teammate Wallace second and Van Gisbergen third.
Yeah, and as we see Connor Zilich pit right here to get that tire replaced, you know, Bubba had to make a pretty aggressive move because Hocevar actually tried to go on the right side right there. As you see Bubba get out of shape under braking there, back of the car start to slide around under braking. So a lot of things happening right here early, Clint.
Absolutely. Again, you got these two 2311 cars working together. Bubba Wallace, not a good racetrack for him. He's learning a lot. That outside front row starting position goes a long ways. Think about it. He's only finished 1 race here, and that was 15th. This could be a huge turnaround for him.
Well, the interesting part is going to be what happens after we get from lap 8, 9, and 10 with the fall off. As you see the 99 car of Daniel Suarez right there sideways. You do not want to slide the back of these cars. The rear tires are going to be your friend today to keep those rear tires on the car, and sliding the car around like that is definitely not what you want to do.
Larson with a look inside of Suarez, and he's going to have room there, but can't quite make the move. Let's see up at the end of the long front straightaway at the top of that hill if he has a shot. Hocevar right behind Larson. And no move. Draws right to the bumper of the 99, but Larson could not get by. Behind them, McDowell passes Byron. Michael McDowell, veteran road racer, moving himself up a spot.
I found what happened. It was part of what happened at the top of the hill with Chase Elliott. Was the aftermath of Denny Hamlin and everybody back there in the back. Zilich. That's what happened to those guys.
And speaking of Chase Elliott, well, we listened in.
there in the first corner.
No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just stupidity. But, you know, we're going to have to pay it back because I'm over people like that constantly doing dumb shit. So when we get a chance to send them, we're sending that one car.
No, that's totally fine. I'll do what I need to do, but I just need to make sure I wasn't in the wrong before I do it.
You weren't.
Yeah, and, you know, we go back and look at the leader right here. And we saw this yesterday during qualifying. I mean, Bubba Wallace, we felt like he was better through the S's and through certain sections of the racetrack. And right now we're seeing his car right on the back bumper of Tyler Reddick's.
He certainly learned what he needed to learn off of it. But you better be careful. He's pushing it pretty hard.
That's 2 laps in a row that he's gotten into turn 19 right there in the back of that car under braking, just almost lock the back tires up and slide the back car around as he goes over those curbs.
I think he needs to continue to learn from Tyler Reddick. I think Reddick is saving his stuff, knows that the long run's coming. Take care of these tires. They're softer. You can push it hard now, but you're going to pay the price later.
Front 4 very close together. Reddick, Wallace, Van Gisbergen, and Kyle Busch. 2 Toyotas, 2 Chevrolets. The first Ford is Ryan. Oh, trouble front straightaway. Car on the wall. Right past start finish. Ty Dillon had contact with another car and gets it rolling.
Caution is not out. We're still green.
Good, keep rolling, keep going.
That happened back at 30th position.
Oh, you see Kyle Busch off the racetrack right there.
Well, here, we're all good.
We're told that Austin Cindric, who had a very difficult qualifying session and started the race in back, he and Ty Dillon got together on the front straightaway just before start finish, but we stay green.
See a lot of smoke out of the right front car. That splitter shoved back into the right front tire.
You can see Cindric gets pushed out by Ty Dillon and watch the aftermath. Didn't like that. Gonna repay it now.
Oh, and you see what looks to be Zane Smith right there, that he got a little bit of contact right there with Ty Dillon as he sent him into the wall. Now, that's the chance that you take when you shove somebody off the racetrack like that and make them mad. The instant retaliation is probably coming.
Now, Smith had to start the race in the rear for unapproved adjustments after qualifying and got caught up in that, but continues.
Speaking of coming, Kevin, it's SVG. You see Ty Dillon having trouble still, but SVG is running these leaders down, those 2 2311 cars. Well, 88 coming.
I think that he's as good as anybody in this field as far as pacing himself and putting himself in a position to take care of those rear tires. And as we go through the day, I think that's going to be a story. These guys are going to learn what the pace of the race is going to be. And you see 23 really close to the inside of that curb right there. There's Noah Gragson around.
That's turn 1 again.
See both of those cars off the racetrack right there coming off of 6B.
Gragson was 25th. And Gisbergen having a hard look at Bubba Wallace for second place here. Gets to the inside, and not this time.
I think he's paying the price. I say Bubba Wallace. He was abusing those tires early on in that run. And he went from right on the back bumper of his teammate to looking in the rearview mirror.
Well, Bubba.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yep, track limits at turn 5, so he is going to do the drive of shame to the outside of 13 and 14 and have that stop and go penalty off course and get going again.
Costly mistake. That's what we're talking about.
All right, Ty Dillon makes it around to pit road. Remember, it's 2.4 miles to get around this racetrack.
Well, Clint, this is one of those days where you just have to be patient with your car. We're seeing a lot of really impatient moves, a lot of mistakes early in this race, and I think those mistakes are probably going to increase as we see Bubba Wallace get that penalty through the S's, but we see guys spinning out, running into each other, and as the tires wear out, that's going to get worse.
Here's your Toyota driver profile. Tyler Reddick, it's the first time he has led at COTA. He's in his 6th full-time Cup season, has 3 road course wins. Win 4 top 10s.
I tell you who else is fast today. Kyle Busch in the 8 car. he's running this group down quick. You can see him coming into the picture right there behind these three leaders.
Yeah, and I think the 23 is really holding that 88 up, but I would say that he's probably been told that he's going to have to make a stop through the Joker lane there.
And of course, Reddick has won here. What I meant was that these are the first laps that Reddick has led this season. All right, now Bubba Wallace has to pay the penalty this time. He goes off course at turn 13 into this penalty lane.
Go.
Makes the stop and goes. And I would guess that that is a much less severe penalty than if he had to come and do a drive all the way down pit road at pit road speed as you would on an oval for most penalties. It will, however, put him well back in the pack. Watching from A.J. Allmendinger there in the Celsius onboard cam. Well, Alex Bowman said he was starting 3,000th. Well, he's running 11th. He's one of the biggest movers. Also, Ryan Blaney, who has come from 25th up to 15th. Tyler Reddick, your leader over Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Busch. The EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox is sponsored by Progressive. Progressive Insurance offers round-the-clock protection. And by Ally, the bank that's your ally. 7 laps in Austin, Texas. A lot of thrill rides here. And the course is one of the best. Here's Van Gisbergen going after Tyler Reddick, who has led every lap so far. Now that stop-and-go penalty cost his teammate Bubba Wallace about 6 seconds. And Wallace, of course, did that stop and go and continue, but finds himself deep in the field as a result. Regan?
Mike, it could be bad news for the competition. Shane Van Gisbergen, who you see pressuring for the lead right now, up 4 spots since the start of the race. Radio to the team and said, my right front feels like it's cooked already, and I don't have the rear grip that I need. There's still room for that race car to get better. Caitlin?
Well, Regan, right behind SVG is Kyle Busch. We saw him go off the track there for a bit, but his crew chief, Randall Burnett, said you have one of the fastest cars, lots of speed, just be smart with it right now. The spotter telling him also to watch his wheel spin when he's coming down the hill, guys.
That's the Rebel Bourbon on board as you crest the hill there, out turn 1, head for 2, and the S's.
Well, that wheel spin comment is really important because every time you wheel spin the back of those rear tires, it just takes grip out of the car. You're taking laps out of the car. You're taking capability out of the car. So you're going to have to be really, really disciplined today.
For the lead.
See Shane go on the inside of Tyler Reddick there.
And right there at
crossover.
6A.
Crossover coming. I don't think he's giving up. No, he's going to take it. Great pass. Set him up perfect, didn't he?
Yeah, you saw that.
Look who's right behind him.
That area going into this from 6 to 6A that we've seen the addition on this weekend with the racetrack being shortened. We've talked about it all week. That corner almost of 6 almost goes all the way back to the right when you go to the left, and it opens that inside up for that straight out braking maneuver like we saw right there.
I love the new section of this racetrack. I think it's created better passing zones, and it was prime example right there on display.
Now that battle for the lead allowed not just Kyle Busch, but also Daniel Suarez and Kyle Larson to close in on the lead duo.
And you close your eyes and think back of years past at this track, who's good, and you just named several of them. Suarez, good track for Trackhouse in general. Kyle Larson, obviously, certainly. There's Kyle Busch making a pass on Reddick. I am very impressed by Kyle Busch and everybody at RCR in this 8 car.
Kyle Busch up to second. Larry Mack?
Yeah, I've been monitoring our top 3 right now. Van Gisbergen, Kyle Busch, and now Tyler Reddick. Of course, Tyler Reddick has now fallen back to 3rd. The one thing that Tyler is doing different now, and he was doing when he was leading, over in the stadium section from about turn 12 to 15, he stays in 2nd gear a lot longer than Van Gisbergen and Kyle Busch. Other than that, their shift points, braking points, throttle is about the same.
And when you're talking speed, I think that helps. When you're talking saving your tires, I don't think it helps.
Yeah, and it looked like that 88 was really close to the limits there going into turn 6. So it's you know, these guys are getting all they can through those S's to try to get set up for turn 6. But
look at Kyle Busch with the Xfinity fastest lap by just 1/100th of a second over Connor Zillage.
Well, let's go back to Connor Zillage. And just, you know, the speed's in that car and the capabilities in the driver. We're going to have to find some track position. Got caught up in that mess at the top of the hill in the first corner bit. They'll get back in it.
Now he's still on the lead lap. He's a minute 12 back, but he is still on the lead lap in 36th. Off turn number 19 and into the only named corner on this course. Turn 20 is the Andretti turn. Named for the Formula One champ, Mario.
This has changed the game. Look down. The laps are winding down already. You take a mile off this racetrack, and it sure changed the complexity of this. 10 to go already, halfway at first stage.
Yeah, and that's where we're really going to see the strategy start to unfold as to who's going to do what. And, you know, we predict it, you know, to be pretty straightforward the first little bit of this race on the strategy, but it's going to be interesting to see what the fall off is, what the strategy is, and you're gonna have to use these feet to keep those tires underneath you. And you see some footwork right here on SVG's car.
Well, this is old school, Kevin. He is the only right foot braker in the field.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at that, that's really an art. I don't know any other way to say it. It's an art that is kind of a lost art in today's world, just because most people use their left foot, and he uses that heel toe to go over and match the RPMs on the upshifts and downshifts, and you'll see him keep that left foot right there on the clutch pedal as he goes up through the gears and downshifts with the brake. A little usage of the clutch right there as he downshifts.
And now you're going to see the difference of a road course ringer, if you will, with all that experience, and a regular, what I would call a regular way to do it with Chris Buescher. You can see the left foot brake.
Watch him.
It's the only way I could do it, Kevin.
Watch him. Yeah, me too. And you really watch his left foot right there, how he modulates the pressure on that brake pressure. and that is really just to modulate the speed of the car. You'll have that initial brake, and then you'll see him adjust his pressure with his left foot on whatever type of corner that is. But you got to use a lot of different brake strategies on this particular racetrack, as we have a lot of slow corners, a lot of fast corners, and very unique racetrack with all the disciplines that go with it.
Look how busy this guy is. Inputs with the wheel all over the place, crazy, chaotic, tap dancing on them pedals. But look at the focal point, all of his eyes and where they're looking as he's navigating his traffic, trying to get around Denny Hamlin.
But look at these stats. In the next-gen car, the 7th generation NASCAR race car, Chris Buescher has been the most consistent on road courses of the whole field.
Oh, got a wheel lock up in front of us. Slipped up. Denny missed the corner as well.
Still there. Still there.
Watching from the Ford Performance camera on board number 17, Buescher, who takes the spot from Denny Hamlin. That is 19th. Larry?
Yeah, Mike, we just completed lap 11. That matches the longest run that we saw in practice yesterday. Kevin and Clint been talking about fall off. Right now, we're about just north of a 1.25 seconds fall off in those 11 laps. I think most everybody's going to go with the 3-stop strategy, which means, remember, they close pit road 2 laps before the end of the stage. So I think what you'll see somewhere around lap 17, about 6 laps from now, you'll see most of the leaders hitting pit road to get those 4 tires.
Thanks, Larry. 37 starters, 36 of them on the lead lap. Ty Dillon 1 lap down. Chevrolet is at the front. Van Gisbergen and Busch. Then Reddick's Toyota. Suarez and Larson the top 5. The EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless, real unlimited data, and by Busch Light. Race for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. 7 laps to go in stage 1. Tyler Reddick led the first 8 laps. Shane Van Gisbergen has been out front for the last 5, and we were allowed to sit in on their pre-race team meeting.
Solid weekend so far, fellas. We've been working on this for a month at the simulator. Not just our group, all 4 groups working together. And I think that proved out yesterday. Fast right off the truck. race today, 95 laps, stages, 20, 25, 50. There's going to be some mixed strategies. There's going to be some 2-stoppers, some 3-stoppers. We'll let you guys know as we get into stage 1 which one of those we're going to be. 5 sets of tires, including the ones we start on, should be plenty for what we're doing. Have some fun and bring the damn trophy back to Trackhouse. Bring it in.
1, 2, 3, 1.
Van Gisbergen and Kyle Busch have opened up a 3-second lead on the rest of the field. Those two Chevrolets at the front.
Yeah, and you see Steven right there. That's Shane's crew chief. He was my engineer for a number of years on the number 4 car. Great young talent. I think they do a great job with Shane trying to make sure that he's up to speed on everything that he needs. So
that was pretty big there, Kevin.
Biggest movers early in this race. 14 laps complete. Alex Bowman up into the top 9. Has gained 12 positions. Zane Smith started out back. He and Riley Herbst are +10. Nemechek and Byron each +9. Josh?
When I talked to crew chief Blake Harris of the 48 car, he said they were disappointed in the way they qualified, but they knew in race trim yesterday that this car was really good. So no surprise, they're one of the biggest movers of the day. This is the guy that's finished top 10 in every single one of the races here in Austin. He just came over the radio and said he is free in the high-speed areas. He is tight in the low-speed areas. Car not exactly where he wants it to be. Team said, we'll help you out during this next stop.
Well, he's moved up into the top 10. In fact, look at the top 9. 8 of them have something in common. They've all won on a road course in the Cup Series. Carson Hocevar, only driver in the top 9 who has not. 4th place at stake here.
Well, we've talked about those Hendrick cars, Clint, and how they go over the bumps. We really were impressed with the way that they could get through all the bumps and the way that their car looked. And you see Kyle Larson starting to creep towards the back bumper right now of Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, if you're looking for grip, look no further than what Hendrick is able to accomplish. All of those cars are fast. Obviously, Chase Elliott got turned around into the first of the race. You need to look and see, make sure that there's not a toe link bend or something like that. But all the Hendrick cars are fast. They're catching them. Bowman's up. Byron's up 9 positions. Bowman's up 12 positions. The 5 cars in your screen. Pretty fast out of the Hendrick camp. A lot of speed.
Well, we have the Hendrick dominance on the road courses, especially with this 7th generation car. 7 straight years with at least 1 road course win, a longer streak than any other organization. And the only one with multiple road course wins over the last 11 races, including 4 of the last 5. Kevin, one thing we saw in practice yesterday, those Hendrick cars seem to have a better ride quality than many of the cars that are really bouncing over the bumps here. What could that be?
Well, I think it can be a number of things. You know, it could be their spring package, could be their shock package. I mean, there's just so many things on these next gen cars that are different than the old cars. As we look at Chase Elliott right here after getting spun out early in the race, and he was so dominant in the Gen 6 car, and now, you know, we talk about him not having won a road course race in the Gen 7 car. So much of it is probably just like today, wrong place, wrong time. He's had the speed, he's had the results to go along with his talent on the road courses, but just hasn't been able to get to victory lane. But I think the Gen 7 car takes a completely different style of driving, shifting, braking, throttle usage, what it takes for the setup. And, you know, I think that has really changed the complexion of who the players are on the road courses.
Larry, I got a question for you. 4 to go here. Obviously, you see cars on pit road. This is my question. How do you flip this stage? If they're going to pit here and you got just was watching Chase Elliott, lost all the track position, Connor Zilic, these guys, what can they do different?
Well, what they can do is come, as you see a bunch of them now, this will give them an additional lap on those fresher tires, and they should be able to make up some ground. Really about the only one that can come with 2 to go is maybe the top 2 or 3. The rest of them, they're going to have to come the next lap if indeed they're going to pit before this pit road closes.
Looked like Chris Buescher stalled it, trying to exit his pit.
Yeah, and when you're in a position like Buescher and Keselowski and even Alex Bowman right there, you're trying to play the cards to leapfrog some of these guys and gain a second and a half a lap, 2 seconds on those new tires in a short amount of time. So the things that you can't do are make the mistakes like stalling it out of the pit stall, stalling it or going too fast on pit road. You do not want to make a penalty in those types of situations, because that'll override everything that you just tried to do from a strategy standpoint.
Now, Kyle Larson did get past Daniel Suarez for 4th place, but can't shake him.
Daniel Suarez is great. I mean, this track is good for him, and he's doing a great job. Qualified good, keeping this car up front. If all the fenders are on it, doing everything you need to do.
Well, and we've seen all the Trackhouse cars. As you see, both of those cars hit pit lane.
Oh, Michael McDowell, his crew was over the wall too soon. You're allowed to come across the wall when that car is 3 pits away, and they were over too soon. That'll be a pass-through penalty. That will be costly. And here's the 5 and 99, keeping close company together on pit road as well.
Yeah, well, we've got a parade of cars coming down pit road, and this is the time. These are narrow pit boxes. You got a short pit wall. These are the times that you just cannot make mistakes on pit road. As you see, the right rear tire there on the 99 take a little bit longer than they probably wanted.
Ryan Prix in. Ty Gibbs out. So the drivers who did not pit prior to the stage ending, Van Gisbergen, Busch, Reddick, Allmendinger, Wallace, Logano, and Elliott, who are now the top 7. Ricky Stenhouse has not been in. Austin Cindric has not been in. They're going to pit at the stage end.
Or are they, Larry?
Yeah, if you're like 9 or 10 seconds back, like Allmendinger on back, you can't get on the pit road before it gets closed. About the only ones that can get there this lap would be the leader, Van Gisbergen, Kyle Busch, and Tyler Reddick. Pit road's going to close, and that means now Allmendinger on back, you won't be able to hit pit road.
So here are the 2 leaders, as Larry points out. Once the leader takes 2 to go, the pits are closed. Are they coming?
Yep.
1 and 1.
That was my point. Now they're both on the pit road,
Right,
guys.
there you go.
Both on pit road, but again, whoa, we got trouble.
Cody Ware around.
That's at the top of the hill, I think. Turn 1.
Yep. Caitlin?
There's Kyle Busch, who's been running in the top 5 for most of the day. Not saying a whole lot on the radio, but he says, I am not good in corner 15 and still a bit tight for that 8 machine, guys. Regan?
Van Gisbergen in the 88 car, a little bit tight to the left-handers, tight overall, but been very smooth sailing for him so far. And the 45 of Tyler Reddick running in 3rd place right now. He's been working on which gears he wants to run through turns 2 and 3. The team giving him a lot of details on what's better.
Close quarters there coming off pit road, and that's going to hand the lead to Bubba Wallace, who's looking for stage points here, the 10 points that go with the stage win.
Yeah, and we saw SVG coming out of his pit stall there. He had a little stumble taking off, and that was all that was needed for Kyle Busch to exit the pits right on his rear bumper.
Now, Chase Elliott, as we mentioned, had climbed up into the top 7 because everyone else in front of him pitted.
Well, that just shows you the track position he lost at the first of the race when he got turned around. He stayed on the racetrack and barely just got caught up to him.
So now only 3 drivers that have not yet pitted among the top dozen. Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott.
Well, sometimes
Ricky Stenhouse and Austin Cindric have not been in.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you want to take the points, and when you feel like you're not in contention to win the race, you want to take all the points that you can get out of the day to try to minimize the loss of your finishing position. So I think that's what you're seeing. Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, all these guys are trying to just say, hey, we know that we're not in position to win the race right now, so we need to capitalize on all the stage points that we can to put ourselves in a position point-wise to have a good day regardless of what the finish says.
I like this race for the lead right here. Kyle Busch is not going away. He's going to put the pressure on SVG. I say the lead. I just told him myself, not the lead.
Well, that's okay. It's still top 5, and it's still a lot of stage points.
After this stage, it probably will be.
Yep.
You see Kyle Busch shoot to the outside right there.
Clear.
SVG kind of threw a little bit of a block right there going into turn 1, trying to anticipate what he thought Kyle Busch was going to do. So turn 1 is so unique here. Going up that hill, it allows you to really be aggressive under those brake zones and do the things that it takes to, you know, take a chance getting in the corner.
He is flirting with that corner, and I don't know. Somebody needs to be warning him. If I was his crew chief, I would definitely be warning him that he's cutting it too close. That's the second or third time I've seen it.
So Logano 5.5 seconds back, in no position to challenge Wallace for the stage win, but from third on back, they're packed pretty closely together. Van Gisbergen, Busch, Elliott, then Reddick, Larson, Suarez, Byron, and Allmendinger in the point-paying positions. Final lap, stage 1. Wallace through 19 and into 20. And uncontested, he will get the stage win here at COTA. First stage win for Bubba Wallace on a road course. Second place points to Joey Logano, Van Gisbergen, and Busch a car length apart for third and fourth. Chase Elliott fifth. The rest of the stage points going to Reddick, Larson, Suarez, Byron, and Allmendinger. Bubba Wallace, your stage 1 winner. The 2025 IndyCar season continues on Fox. IndyCar heats up in Thermal, the next stop on the road to the Indy 500. Sunday, March 23rd, 3 p.m. Eastern, live on Fox. Here in Austin, Bubba Wallace has won stage 1, and the highest point in Greater Austin, Texas is 230 feet above sea level, and that's where we'll find Chris and Jamie.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I hope that drone is one of ours, Jamie. But this is the highest point that you can watch a NASCAR race, so over 250 feet. So that's about 50 feet less than the Statue of Liberty. We're 22 stories high. You can see the entire track. It's over 1,500 acres here, and you can see so far across Texas. You can see Dallas football fans very, very disappointed. But with a great view, could you call? And also, we have, by the way, the see-through bottom go all the way down. It's like the Ghost Bar in Vegas. Could you call a race from here?
Chris, I've made some poor decisions in life, and this is going to go in that category as well. I don't know that the height is as bad as the winds that we have today blowing here in Texas. You see the flag sticking straight out, but obviously incredible perspective of the track up here.
Yeah, why, as to the track, why such impatience so early from drivers? And it's really been more than one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, track position is everything. We know how hard it is to pass. It's going to be a challenge for Chase Elliott to get back up through there. And Chastain made a mistake on the first lap, but I think it shows you that these guys are going for it every single lap.
And for the fans who came up here to enjoy the race, it really is a great view. You can take stairs, which we did not do, or you can take the elevator. Let's go back to the guys. By the way, the Stage 1 winner here in Austin, he's never gone on to win the race. Mike?
Thank you, Chris. I will not tell Bubba Wallace that, but thanks. All right. Safety car leads them around here. Wallace, Logano have not yet made pit stops. Ricky Stenhouse has come to pit road, and so is Chase Elliott.
You can see Chase Elliott changing that toe link that got bent from the contact early on in the first corner with Chastain. Needing to get that repair fixed, costly here, but let's fix it as early as possible. This car is fast. He was very competitive. You can see that by the speed and where he started. Let's get this repair fixed and maybe he can drive back up to the field. You're going to need some sort of stage strategy or something to get that track position though.
Well, the good news for Chase is they were able to make sure that they fixed the car, and he got stage points like you were saying. And that's the unique part about this road course strategy is you have all those options. And you saw Joey Logano, they know they're not good. They know they have no chance to win the race, but if they can come out of here with those points, man, does it look a lot better when you get to Monday in the point standings.
Sure does. Now, another consequence of shortening this course by 1 mile, not only do the fans get to see the cars come by more often, but the caution laps are a lot shorter too. Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Since 1925, the Goodyear blimp has been inspiring fans to keep looking up and keep driving forward. What a beautiful racing facility. Plays host to Formula One, and this track is busy all week long, years long, year round.
It sounds like it's going to get even busier. Building an amusement park over here. I can't wait to try that roller coaster out. Looks fast.
Bubba Wallace, your Stage 1 winner, has won more laps in the top 5 today than in his prior 4 races here combined.
It's a big turnaround for him. Good opportunity. Made a little bit of mistake there early. Stopped and paid his penalty, but capitalized on all them stage points.
So that is Wallace's pit.
Well,
going to ride along today with Austin Dillon, the Brez Tree camera, including a 360-degree view on board his Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet. Christopher Bell, who led 1 lap at Atlanta, the one that counted, carrying our Toyota cam today, including a 360 view. Ryan Prix has the BuildSubmarines.com camera on board his RFK Mustang. AJ Allmendinger has the Celsius onboard camera, including that front bumper cam. Hope it's still there at the end of the day.
I'd say that thing gets used before the end of the day for sure.
All right, the leaders are on pit road, Logano and Wallace. Josh.
Well, for Joey Logano, stage points were the important thing, which is why they stayed out for Joey Logano. He said he's loose through the S's, through the carousel. He said, I need more stability without giving up the turn, and air pressure adjustment for the
for Bubba Wallace. There was a plan change because of that stop-and-go penalty, deciding to get the stage points. As for the car right now, he hurt the rear tires early on the run, has no lateral grip, no forward drive, no grip overall. He's been trying to save things and can't save it.
All right, they'll come off pit road and blend in as Ty Dillon comes around. He gets the free pass, and that will put all 37 of our drivers back on the lead lap here at COTA.
Michael Waltrip here. I'm alongside Johnny Perez. Johnny is one of the many experienced guides at EchoPark Automotive. He's here to make sure you get the car you're looking for and a 5-star experience.
That's right, Mike. What EchoPark wants us to do is to thrive on our guest experience, and that's what I love about doing my job.
You know what I love, Johnny? Customers love talking about their experience at EchoPark Automotive. You just received your 100,000th 5-star review, and they're still coming in. That's amazing.
Man, that is amazing. What do we say we take this thing out for a victory lap?
Ooh, I thought you'd never ask. Let's go.
Let's go.
Be amazing.
Now, EchoPark Automotive, along with Speedway Motorsports, Charlotte Motor Speedway, many of America's great racetracks were all the brainchilds of O. Bruton Smith, who began by building Charlotte Motor Speedway with Curtis Turner in 1960. There are some of the notable tracks that he created. He built these great cathedrals of speed like Texas Motor Speedway, and was quite a visionary. Really helped make this sport as great as it is today. Bruton would have turned 98 years old today.
Amazing guy, amazing vision, amazing life, and the old apple didn't fall far from the tree. Raised some good kids that are doing just fine with this sport of NASCAR.
Well, Clint, we saw shenanigans on the pre-race with you, my friend, making fun of me. We saw shenanigans on the first lap.
I'm going to be more ready for it this time.
Will we see more shenanigans on this restart in turn 1?
Yes. I'm almost certain of it. It's a calamity corner. It always has been. I got that term from him, and it happened 4 years ago, and it hasn't changed.
Look around this whole racetrack. Where is the greatest concentration of fans? Well, there's right there. That's
Did you see this?
Gamey. Yeah, but I think yours is a whole lot more handsome than the one covered in hairspray on
All right, so the white one over here on your left here is Kevin Harvick. I found Harvick, and I found Chris Myers.
Is that a three-legged apparatus?
Oh, no,
What's going on there?
Just like he's lackadaisical, just like Myers. He's taking a break,
Yeah.
but my gosh, what an opportunity that landed right before me, walking through the infield.
I'm not sure we can be friends anymore.
What do they call them things?
Exactly what I'm thinking of you right now.
Such a perfect fit. Such a perfect fit. Couldn't have worked any better. Here we go. We're going green, boys.
All right. Toyota Super GR pace car will head for home. And here they come to the EchoPark Automotive restart zone. Van Gisbergen, Busch. Up front, Reddick and Larson, Suarez and Byron, Allmendinger, Briscoe, Bowman, Hocevar. All 37 cars back on the lead lap, and we're back to green. Stage 2. Who's going to be first coming out of turn 1?
Well, you see Kyle Busch beat SVG pretty bad as they got to the exit of that restart zone, but having that inside lane is important right here, and he's going to be able to defend that position as they fan out 3-4 wide.
They seem to make it work. Man, I love that corner. How they fan out there and try to dive bomb each other, beat each other to the braking zones. But now you're high speed up through the S's trying to outduel one another to the next corner.
And this is when it gets really hard with the track limits right here. When you're side by side, you're following a car. 3, 4, and 5 is where they're officiating that. So, we see some contact right there between teammates.
2 wide, even 3 wide through 6A. Not sure that was possible, but it happened.
And that's exactly what we expected right there. And these guys are learning as they go through these restarts. You're going to continuously see that get more aggressive as we see 3 wide again into turn 12.
Wow, Bowman, Bell, and Hocevar all going for it.
Oh, of Chris Buescher right there.
Ty Gibbs got inside him, and then Gibbs got himself into a scuffle there with Ryan Prix. Bowman at the head of that group.
The ones leading that charge, you said it right there, Alex Bowman and Bell. Those guys are really good at this racetrack. 2 fast cars. They were good in practice, and then just keep inching closer and closer to the front. Keep an eye on them.
Well, you see Tyler Reddick putting some pressure on SVG up front right here. We saw his car was really good to take off in the last run. It's Kyle Busch. Late move right there on the 45 car of Tyler Reddick.
And that'll shove Reddick back to 3rd. Suarez 4th. With a mirror full of William Byron and Allmendinger coming into the picture. And that's 16.
Could be a big win for Kyle Busch. Look at the inside. SVG's going to make the pass here, guys.
New leader, Kyle Busch.
Pounce on them both. It was a late surprise there and got him. Reddick to the inside of SVG.
And thinks better of it as they enter the S's. Kyle's son Brexton raced this weekend, Texas Motor Speedway. He and his mom Samantha then traveled over here to Austin. You saw their pre-race prayer with Kyle before he hopped aboard the number 8, trying to resume his winning ways. And here's Kyle talking about this new section of the course, turn 6, 6A, 6B, and track limits.
Have they called anybody in turn 6 yet?
We get 1 penalty, our day's over. And what you're doing right now, we can beat the 88 straight up. So.
Yeah, I know. I just been around a few guys that aren't paying attention to candy stripes in turn 6. They're just jumping to the red asphalt and staying inside of them. So I'm very unclear as to what we're supposed to do.
Well, and so were we. So we double-checked with NASCAR, and track limits are not applied at turn 6 as you set up for 6A.
Yeah, and we were a little confused by that to start with.
We saw the same thing.
Yeah, we saw the exact same thing Kyle did, and I think in years past, you know, that turn 6 would have been considered part of the S's, but not today.
59 wins since Kyle Busch's last seen victory lane. Can it be today?
First laps he's led on a road course since 2023.
You see that back bumper getting knocked on right there by Daniel Suarez. You see these cars really physical on the restarts, and that's just part of next-gen racing. Well, these cars are tough.
That was Allmendinger having just made that pass on Daniel Suarez. Right. Allmendinger's coming.
Larson putting a lot of pressure. He's not very happy with the 19 car. He was wearing that back bumper out.
Briscoe will be number 2 on the list of Toyota top performers right now. Reddick in 3rd. Briscoe there at 7th. Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs top that list.
Yeah, and I always thought Chase Briscoe did a really good job on the road courses when I was his teammate at Stewart-Haas Racing. Not surprising to see him making some ground and having a decent day so far. You see him go through the dirt right there. That grass and dirt has been moved closer to the racetrack as Bell dives under the 5 car there.
Did you see the effect that it made on the 5 car when he threw the dirt on the track? It slipped the 5 car up, and look, now Bell's looking to the inside of him.
That's an old Parnelli Jones trick in the Trans Am series.
Yep. That's right.
Or half the field in Riverside, California. Yeah. 28 laps on the board. 68 to go here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Kyle Busch out front.
I don't know how much y'all can feel on the front stretch, James, but the wind is blowing like hell. I mean, this big-ass flag over here by 6 is straight out in the wind.
Austin, it is very windy up here, on and off, but if we ever sound screwed up all day, good chance it's that.
Copy. Windstorm right now. Maybe this helps.
Insane wind. Insane.
I'm on the scissor lift. I think I'm going to blow off this thing.
Steady 25 miles an hour, and those are big flags, and they are out straight here. So no surprise. Drivers getting blown around the course.
Well, we did the pre-race up on the top of the hill in turn 1, and you could really feel the wind blowing up there. And from a driver's perspective, it's just those gusts of wind that'll grab the car and push it to whatever direction it's blowing in, inside, outside, whatever it is, those bursts of wind, sometimes as a driver, Clint, that'll rattle you and question your car as to what's actually wrong or if it was just a gust of wind.
Yeah, the wind is one thing. Those gusts and the bursts, like you were saying, that's what affects and upsets these cars.
Shane Van Gisbergen now 1.2 seconds back of Kyle Busch. Tyler Reddick 2 back. Then A.J. Allmendinger, Byron, and Suarez. And Allmendinger lurking, you might say, in 4th place. But he is a charger. If there's any way to get that Kaulig car up toward the front, he'll find it.
Well, this guy right here, William Byron, he's had a lot of success. As you see right behind him, Chase Briscoe dived to the inside of Daniel Suarez, but that's going to put him on the outside going into 15 right here.
Well, I love that. Choosing where to pass is not all about the one corner where you can take advantage. It's about 2, 3, 4 corners on, and where are you going to be? How are you going to do it?
Well, he gave up that whole gap that he had to Kyle Larson there. It slowed both he and Suarez down when he didn't complete that pass, and that's the tough part here is when you're on the inside of somebody and you don't finish the pass. Usually, whether it's 1 or 2 corners, you wind up on the outside, and they're very capable of hanging you out right there, and so not finishing a pass can be detrimental, as you saw with that gap go away for Chase Briscoe.
All right, there's been a lot of talk about track limits, and apparently, well, a number of people were confused. Here's the 16.
All right, NASCAR just made a change. There's no track limits in turn 6, if that helps you. No track limits in turn 6, only.
I didn't realize there was.
Well, that's it. You heard me say it, and all the drivers, every single one of them, all the teams are talking about that. I don't think there was a change. I think they just didn't include 6.
Well, we talk about track limits in the S's, and on the old configuration, turn 6 would have been right in the middle of the S's. And I'd have to go back to the driver crew chief handout to see if the specific turn numbers were specified. Regan.
Well, Mike, what a good day for A.J. Allmendinger right now in that 16 car. Of course, they had that funny little back and forth on the radio a few moments ago. As for the car, though, he was not very confident when he got in that race car this morning. He told me a little while ago before he climbed in, he said, I don't think we're going to be good. We could not get the grip on the front or rear of the car that I wanted. Well, the latest update from A.J., the front of the car needs a little bit more turn, but the back is really good. Shouldn't be surprising. We know how good he is on these road courses, but looking very good right now.
And yesterday he was not happy at all. He complained the whole time about his car and how bad it was, especially after that first session. But that's really been the progression of really everybody, including the car in front of him, Tyler Reddick. They've progressed through the weekend to make their cars better, and that's been a constant evolution as we've gone into the race as well.
For more, here's Caitlin.
Well, Chase Elliott is still trying to recover from that very early incident with Ross Chastain. Had to make a series of pit stops to try and repair that toe link, then bring it down for tires, then top off with fuel and add some Barabon to the car. But Alan Gustafson started talking to Chase about exactly what happened, and he said Ross Chastain just tried to go 4 wide, and as usual, he paid the price.
Well, another Hendrick driver who's not going to be very happy is Kyle Larson. Turn number 3, he exceeded track limits. That means that he put all 4 tires on the outside of the candy cane runoff there, away from the track surface. That's cutting the course. You do the stop and go at turn 13 and 14. Van Gisbergen is pulled away from Allmendinger now as he chases Kyle Busch for the lead in Austin. Welcome back to the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix from Austin, Texas. Kyle Busch. Shane Van Gisbergen gave him a bump coming through turn number 20 to start finish, and here's SVG for the lead.
That was just being lower in 6, setting him up for the inside. I mean, it was simple as that.
Yeah, and we saw him give the back bumper of Kyle Busch a shot there coming off at turn 20, and that's a textbook pass that we had talked about into 6A right there.
One reason why that's a great place to pass, it's a left-hander, and so are the next 2 corners. So if you don't get it done there, you got more opportunity.
That's a great point. Larry?
Yeah, of course, Shane Van Gisbergen in the 88, he just took the lead, and we're 9 laps into this run. For about the first 5 laps, he complained about the front not gripping. And guys, I've talked to a lot of people about short run, long run speed. Looks like the 88 has long run speed. Tyler Reddick does not have long run speed. It can come from several things. The air pressure they're running, how aggressive they are with the setup, especially with the shock settings. And quite honestly, Clint and Kevin, you guys know this, I think a driver can make a big difference in short run and long run speed, taking care of it in the early going.
Certainly can. I mean, that's exactly what you see. I think a combination of low air pressure, that's what the turn was. It wouldn't turn for a while. That air pressure built up, and now he's about a half a second faster than him. Allmendinger is too, very impressive. Those ringers today, the road course ringers, if you will, both of those guys fast.
Boy, Kyle Busch is right there, and Allmendinger not that far behind. Regan.
Well, Mike, another guy fast right now is the 87 of Connor Zilic. You see on the screen, up 13 spots since they restarted from the stage break. That team came in, they got tires during the stage break. Everything was good with the car after the earlier incident. We saw that right front flat tire. He said maybe the toe's out a little bit, but not bad. As for how it's driving right now, he says it's very good. I just need a little more forward drive, meaning when he gets on the gas pedal, he needs it to go forward better for him. And I love what crew chief Darian Grubb did. You've got a young guy in the car. He was very calm, cool, and collected through the whole process as they had those issues earlier, and it's paying off right now.
Trying to pass Brad Keselowski for 16th, and not without a little contact.
Brad's not giving up easy. Still to the inside here. He's going to win this, just like you said, setting him up for the next corner. It's exactly what you were talking about, Mike.
And Zilic will prevail and set his sights on Ryan Blaney in 15th.
Without a doubt, Zilic has top 10 speed, and he's just slowly, methodically getting up there. That was a lot of patience there around Keselowski.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that's going to be the most eye-opening thing for Connor today. We've seen him go through the field and all the things that he's done as we ride on board with A.J. Allmendinger, but Connor Zilic has made his way through the field in a very methodical way, and as he gets closer to the front and starts racing around those guys that have a lot of the same pace as him, it'll be fun to watch the battle of the guys that are trying to outwit each other at that point, because these guys are also good under the braking. That's really what sets these guys apart from being faster or slower than the other guys. They're good in the braking zones, and as you saw Zilic right there dive under Brad Keselowski, that is purely just a braking technique that makes these road race guys so good.
Top 3 keeping close tabs: Van Gisbergen, Busch, and Allmendinger. The first 3 of 5 Chevrolets at the front of the field. Welcome back to the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox, presented by Toyota. Shane Van Gisbergen leading Kyle Busch and A.J. Allmendinger by a narrow margin. They're 3.5 seconds ahead of the field. Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, with the best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100 to the Goodyear blimp. Downtown Austin. We're out past the airport, out in the hill country at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, and you see right there, A.J. Allmendinger is starting to pull in on the back bumper of Kyle Busch, and this would be a huge turnaround from where he started practice, but not anything short of what we expect out of A.J. On these road courses, Allmendinger is just one of those guys that he just never quits. He never goes away. He's always driving the car to the edge of its capability, and usually has some of the capability himself to carry it beyond what the car is actually capable of. I think these Kaulig guys have really benefited off of AJ's experience and everything that he brings to the road course program to put themselves in a position a lot to win these races.
I think that cascades even further than that. Even that 8 car in front of him, Kyle Busch at RCR.
Here's a battle for 18th. Denny Hamlin trying to hold back Justin Haley, who's playing bumper tag with Ty Gibbs.
Well, Denny Hamlin, he's missing a right front fender, so.
And Ross Chastain, who initiated the first big dust up of the day in the first corner of the race, ahead of them in 13th.
Yeah, and that really set the tone for the beginning part of this race for him. I mean, we expected Ross to be a contender today, and really from that point forward hasn't really been in contention to run in the top 5, Clint.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mistake for sure. Saw the bullhorns on the hood, and it was
saw him in turn 1 too. Early. Yeah, he started 9th and was trying to lead coming out of turn 1. That didn't work out well for him, and even worse for the number 9 of Chase Elliott, who got turned around there and hasn't climbed out of the top 30. Here's a look at it. Back on the initial start of the race, the white car way to the inside is Chastain.
Yeah, and he's just in there way too far, and that's the first lap of the day, and put a lot of those guys in a position that they had nothing to do with, but just a way more speed than. And his angle wrong right there. You see the 9 get turned around right in front of Denny Hamlin's car, get torn off. Zilich tore up. So, I think that we saw him giving the lecture last week to Carson Hocevar. I'd say that might be a couple of them waiting at his door when he gets out this week.
Eating little crow.
Now, Zilich has done a nice job of climbing his way back through the field. In fact, it has taken him not more than 2 laps to pass each car as he has climbed back up through now to 14th place.
Well, we knew this kid would have pace. We knew that he would be a contender for, to run well inside the top 10. But, today he's putting on as we saw yesterday when he had the pit road penalty, went to the back of the Xfinity race and wound up marching all the way back towards the front. So when you get on these road courses and you have those guys that just have that elite level of capability on the road courses, it makes it fun to watch.
All right, Denny Hamlin's going to have a stop and go. Track limits at turn 5. Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon begin this round of pit stops under green. Larry?
Yeah, the stage ends in about 5 laps. If you go back to the end of stage 1, several drivers came with 4 to go. So a bunch came with 3 to go. Of course, the leaders came with 2 to go, which is when you have to come before they close pit road. The downside of waiting is if that caution comes out before you've made your green flag pit stop and others have, you're going to give up a ton of track position. So it's kind of a cat and mouse game.
Thanks, Larry. They will stay on the lead lap after making those pit stops.
And this is just not a track that is notorious for a bunch of cautions. We see a lot of green flag runs here, so playing that strategy to try to catch a caution, you have to get lucky anywhere that you go, but I think here it's even a raised percentage just because of how few cautions we typically have, especially in the middle portion of the race.
William Byron in 4th. Now he's about 4.5 seconds back of Allmendinger, which puts him 6.8 seconds off the lead, as you see on our scoring pylon there. But driving his own race.
That's William Byron. He's doing what William Byron does. He's just quietly there waiting for the moment. Race is not over yet. The money's not on the line. He will be there.
You see that in his stats. You see Denny serving his penalty right there. Not sure that he came all the way to a stop, but close enough.
California stop.
Yeah. But I think that back to William Byron, being able to keep yourself in the race is sometimes half the battle.
And out of controversy. He's just never in the middle of any kind of controversy, just kind of out there running his own race. Next thing you know, he's taking your money and trophy headed to the house.
Well, you see Buescher kind of stumble there again out of the pit stall. These cars are hard to get going with the way that everything works gearing wise here, so you have to rev that engine up and get those tires spinning a little bit getting out of that pit stall, because you can't give up any time, but we can't make mistakes on pit road, and we've seen that a number of times, especially the guy in second there, Kyle Busch. We've seen him run up front a lot and have some mistakes on pit road, so hopefully not today.
And we checked, Denny Hamlin was good with serving his penalty for cutting the track at turn number 5. Things cycling through here as we ride with second place Kyle Busch. 1.5 seconds in front of him. That's Shane Van Gisbergen, who's now led 19 laps here in Austin.
These long green flag runs are fun, and we're going to see that at the end of the race, because you really start to see cars start to back up. You see who has the best long run cars, and you know, there's just a lot of comers and goers as we go through the tire wear.
There's another thing that comes with that, attrition. This is hard on these drivers. They're so busy out there, shifting, turning, all these different corners, all these different things that's going on. This is a very tiring race. It's hot out here.
Trouble for John Hunter Nemechek, who you saw in the back of that picture a second ago. Commitment line violation coming to pit road, and here's Caitlin.
Well, the 24 William Byron is saying, I need to work on the car helping me through the S's, and it's starting to lose some lateral grip as well. We saw also Chase Briscoe, and he's been methodically making his way through the field. Said it felt good on the long run, but not enough left rear grip in the short run, guys.
Kosovar making his pit stop as other drivers exit. There's Zilich going out. Note how the drivers' names are on pit road. They were stenciled in there early this morning after pits were selected to help the fans know who was stopping in which pit. Really nice touch here. There you see Larson stenciled just on the outside of the number 5. And
they've got trouble. That's exactly what we were talking about. You got to minimize those mistakes, but the left rear tire not on or having some issues back there.
Now Nemechek, here's the commitment line violation. You see that box. Nope, he was inside it, but chose not to come to pit road, which is going to make extending his string of top 10 finishes. He's one of only 2 drivers that started the season with 2 of them. That's going to be tough to extend that after this penalty.
Well, you see right there, he was obviously carrying too much speed and just blew right through there and couldn't make the corner.
Leader on pit road.
Van Gisbergen and Busch come to pit road, and Allmendinger. Caitlin.
Yeah, Kyle Busch obviously spent quite a bit of time at the front of this race, led 9 laps, pretty quiet about the feedback on the radio. His spotter just saying, don't overdo your entry into 1. Regan.
Shane Van Gisbergen in the 88 car right now. He made the turn better with the last adjustments crew chief Steven Doran did. Now he's just needing a little bit of overall grip. He told him I could give up some through the right-handers in the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger. Right now he needs the turn. It's better with him as well, but gave up some rear grip as we see trouble for Kyle Larson there.
Oh, big trouble. He's lost the right front wheel.
Wheels have fallen off the bus. That's not the wheel they were even waiting on, Kevin. They were working on the left rear.
And that will have implications beyond today.
Well, here we go again. We saw this race
at short run speed,
off of pit road speed, and that short run speed, and there you see Kyle Larson's tire. That'll be bad news for next week.
Well, certainly a penalty, but it's off the course, so I think that will be fine.
Yeah, we should stay green from that. Ryan Prix is now the race leader after several of the front runners have made their pit stops. Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell, and here's a look at it.
Well, these cars are difficult because of the way that those tires lock on there, and sometimes when you have a loose wheel, it's hard to identify what's going on. If it's one of the rear wheels, you'll feel the rear end start to shift around as that lock keeps the wheels on the axle, and won't come off. But sometimes you don't feel it, and that right front tire off of that 5 car is going to ruin their day.
All right, Larson has made it to pit road. We stay green. It'll be 2 to go in the stage with Ryan Prix, the leader, trying to pick up a stage win and some stage points. He has 1.6 seconds on Blaney. And here they come, about a dozen car lengths apart, up the front straightaway and past the start-finish line.
Get back, 1 more lap, nice to move.
Well, this is exactly what we talked about at the end of the first stage. You've got guys that are here to minimize the losses of their day, and today, you know, we've seen it in stage 1. Now you're going to see it again in stage 2. You want to make something out of your day, like we talked on the points, and now it's Ryan Prix, Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell trying to gather those points in stage 2.
More points for Bubba Wallace as well.
Yeah, and he's definitely put himself in a position to have a good points day for sure, which is not something that they've always done on the road courses.
Yeah, if it stays the way it is, that's 13 points for him.
I'm glad that you're on board with counting those points now, Clint.
Well, Blaney started 25th, did not have the fastest car coming into today's race, obviously, so a chance to maximize stage points.
Yeah, and we haven't seen really any of those Fords be competitive as far as keeping up with the Toyotas and Chevrolets. They've just not had the speed that those cars have had. We've talked so much about them on the super speedways, but their road course stuff has definitely not been as good as the other 2 brands.
Final lap of stage number 2. There from the buildsubmarines.com cam, you can see Ryan Blaney a 1.5 seconds behind Ryan Prix. Out of the stadium section and to turn 19, coming to 20, and Prix, who led from the pole at Martinsville in 2023 and scored the win in stage 1, is going to pick up his 2nd career stage win here by 2.4 seconds over Ryan Blaney and Michael McDowell. Kyle Busch and Shane Van Gisbergen, who made pit stops, are 4th and 5th, but the former modified champ Prix scores in stage 2. The EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places.
How aggressive is too aggressive? Do you think he did anything wrong, or is he just...
Keep standing on the gas,
Okay.
Carson. Keep standing on the gas. As long as you have shoulders big enough to take all the criticism and everything that comes with it. You know, he made a big mistake with Blaney and got off center and you know, spun him out. You know, I didn't see exactly what really made Kyle Busch mad, but I mean, he was making aggressive moves all day. He has a driving style that is very aggressive. He's not scared to put that car in places that it shouldn't be and take chances. And there's going to be some times when he's got 4 or 5 guys mad at him after the race. There is no better way to learn.
Join Kevin and the crew every Tuesday and Thursday for NASCAR's #1 on the charts podcast, Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by EchoPark Automotive. You know, in 15 years, Darrell Waltrip said a lot of great things up here in this booth, and one of them was, I'd rather take a young driver and rein him in than take a young driver and have to try to speed him up.
Can't speed him up. You can only pull the reins back.
Well, that's a fact. And Carson's fast. They've made their cars better. And I think you've seen that with the performance and things that he's put on so far this year. But, you know, you got to make sure you got to correct some of the mistakes that you make. And if you're okay with having those broad shoulders and learning on the fly, it's very good that he has the speed. So you just have to correct some of those mistakes.
Well, let me add one thing to that. You've got to earn the trust of the people you're racing with, too.
Well, eventually it's going to bite you, I think. You know, they all say, we heard it last week, we're going to wreck him, going to wreck him. Nobody's really wrecked him.
Well, he got wrecked yesterday in the Xfinity race.
Okay.
And that's going to happen, but that's okay. I mean, take your lumps, and when you get wrecked every once in a while or shoved out of the groove, that's kind of the trial by fire that happens on the racetrack, especially in the Cup Series. So it's you know, I love the speed that he has, and you know, it'll be fun to watch it evolve if he can handle all the criticism.
I think that's just it. He is fun to watch. He's going for it. He had an opportunity. I like it. He took it. Made some people mad. Apologize on Monday.
Pit road is open, and here come the leaders, Josh.
Let's start with Ryan Prix, your Stage 2 winner. Happy with the pace of that car. A little struggles in 3 and 4, but otherwise like the way that car is trending. For Ryan Blaney in 12, he said he needs a little more rear grip in that car. He said he's still struggling a bit, but the car is getting better as the run went along, guys.
Well, it's interesting that you hear Prix talk about 3 and 4, because that's a flat section of the racetrack, a rhythm section, and you have slow sections. So usually if your car is working good in the slow sections, not so good through the S's.
All right, 2 stages are history in Austin. Who will capture the flag at the end of this race?
stage 2, and moments ago, Ryan Prix captured stage 2. Fords have led the most laps in the first 2 races coming into this one. They have yet to have a victory. That's something Prix hopes to change if he can hang on. Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers from the observation tower. We're still observing. We're down in the pits keeping an eye on things. Kyle Busch, a story, in position to maybe end that 59 race winless streak, the longest of his career. What surprised you?
Yeah, I think the pole setter Tyler Reddick, we thought he was going to be a contender to run with SVG and some of these guys up front, has faded back just inside the top 10, but expected a little more out of him today.
Shane Van Gisbergen came in as the favorite in this, according to those betting and the odds that were put. Ross Chastain in the 1 car. This is lap 1, turn 1, and the 1 car into Chase Elliott, causing some problems. Denny Hamlin also has worked his way back after that, and Connor Zilisch, the 18-year-old, went down a bit, but has worked his way back.
Yeah, Zilisch is back up into the top 14. We see right here, this could have been a huge wreck. As you see, Austin Cindric gets into Ty Dillon right there, puts the 10 car into the outside wall. Didn't bring a caution out, though. They were able to get back, and Bubba Wallace, after a penalty, was able to go on, Chris, and win stage 1.
Yeah, and Shane Van Gisbergen has led the most laps, taking the lead from Kyle Busch. And those two are in position still, going back and forth. Kyle Larson a moment ago losing a tire, and that what happened on lap 44. Hendrick Motorsports has had 2 of the 4 winners here, and William Byron, by the way, has worked his way back up from far out. And who's free falling? They'll update you on that. We'll take a little look. Some of those, Logano was up there for a bit. He's fallen back as the Fords, again, have the lead at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see this battle with SVG and Kyle Busch. I know that Shane was able to get by him a little bit ago. It won't be near as easy when they get to battling towards the end.
Yeah, William Byron, last year's winner, watch methodical, working his way, setting himself up for a position for a possible run at the victory, at the win towards the end of the race. Let's head back upstairs.
Kyle Larson would be the free pass car, but he is under penalty, so he has to start at the back. Of all these drivers, they all stopped just before the caution or during the stage break, except one, Larry.
Yeah, everybody is on a 2-stop strategy except Michael McDowell, the 71. I love his crew chief, Travis Peterson. He's like the Mad Hatter. They pitted at lap 23. He'll be able to run about 10 laps to be able to pit and make it to the end. But what may have led to this, Mike, Kevin, and Clint, is that penalty at lap 17 over the wall too soon. That led them, I think, to get off strategy of everybody else.
Thanks, Larry. So 5 Chevrolets at the front, led by McDowell, who did not stop, and Kyle Busch, Van Gisbergen, Allmendinger, and Byron. Bell, the first Toyota, and Chris Buescher, the first Ford.
I want to see what this Allmendinger can do. He's up here with the track position. We're going to see it right here. Here we go.
Here they come to the EchoPark Automotive restart zone, and stage 3 is underway.
Yeah, we saw right there again, the 88 car did not get going well.
McDowell on the inside in yellow is going to lead him out of turn number 1 with Kyle Busch right alongside.
Yeah, and what those guys are hoping for is that track position will make their cars try to minimize the loss to just pit under green and not have to give up all that track position with Michael McDowell.
Actually, I thought they'd have him in the rearview mirror already. He's holding pretty strong here.
He is quite the veteran road racer. And you noted Allmendinger got 3rd, and here comes Kyle Busch for the lead at 6A.
And Allmendinger got around Van Gisbergen behind him.
Yeah, we've definitely seen SVG car not take off very good.
As Briscoe to the inside, as was Bell, the 2 Toyotas trying to steal spots there from Byron.
Yeah, they better not let Christopher Bell get too close, because his car is what I think is pretty good on the long run, Clint. So if he can minimize the loss on this short run, I think he should be close to these guys on a long run pace.
That does not surprise me in the least. Really good here at this racetrack. Fantastic results. One of his better racetracks for sure, and he's proven it again.
Yeah, I think you'll see him dive to the inside in 19 or 20 here. He needs to get by Michael McDowell as quick as possible, and McDowell's on the opposite strategy. He needs to protect as much as possible. So we see a spin right there. Daniel Suarez right behind him, spinning, coming off 19. Fender's torn off.
And that will put us under caution. The first one for cause today. Is that
that's
Connor
Zilisch.
So caution at lap 51.
He's into them barriers pretty hard.
Yes, he is.
Daniel Suarez with a lot of damage.
That was a really good race car.
Zilich with more.
Ran up front all day in the top 5. Zilich was just crawling back up there.
And we'll be back to Circuit of the Americas after this, where we are under caution for the 3rd time today. The EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox is sponsored by Wendy's. Try Wendy's fresh, juicy hamburgers today. Welcome back to the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix from Austin, Texas. Here's why we are under caution. At turn number 19, Daniel Suarez and Connor Zilich.
Boom. And as a team owner, that is it just always seems to work that way. Two of your cars smashing into each other, but that's definitely 50% of the cars that Trackhouse had all wiped out one exit right there. So right here, it looks like what happened. You see this curb right here. You want to put the right side tires on the exit or on the candy cane part of that corner. So you'll split that hot dog curb that's below that. It's an extra curb on the inside. And I think Daniel Suarez, you see that access road right there. I think what happened is he got too low and he got that left front tire to bouncing, and then the car just pitched around on him immediately. But yeah, right here you see that hot dog curb. You want to put the right side and split that curb. And I think this road right here is what got the car bottomed out and pitched the car sideways.
You see a lot of loose gravel there.
The dirt. Yeah.
Where people have been shortcutting that.
A little greedy, getting a little greedy.
Well, there's speed there, because if you miss that apex on the candy cane part and don't hook that hot dog curb, you wind up wide, and then you wind up wider on the exit.
Now, stopping in the pits is the 48 of Alex Bowman. He was under penalty for cutting the course at turn number 5. He'll have to restart tail end of the longest line.
Yeah, and
there
that's
you go.
exactly what we explained. I've done it several times in this car, but the suspension will bottom out on those stops.
He hit that road, just like you were saying.
And you hit that road, and it just pitches the back of these cars around. So you have to be super careful. I wrecked the very first practice session at California Speedway, Clint. You remember this. You were covering it. As you're going to see Connor Zilic just pile into Daniel Suarez right here.
Way to go.
Oh, man.
Dang it.
But when the rear suspension bottoms out like that, it just, when it rebounds up off those stops, it just pitches the back end around and you spin out.
So 2 cars badly damaged here, and repeated pit stops for Bowman, Larry tells us, because of a power steering issue. Plus, he'll have to go to the back.
Well, this goes right back to what we talked about with William Byron, right? You know, you have to keep yourself in these races and not make mistakes on the racetrack, not make mistakes on pit road. You know, you not have the gremlins of everything that can happen with the mechanical gremlins. So there's just a lot of things that can go wrong with your weekend, even if you have speed.
The AMR safety crew on the scene helping the drivers involved. Well, it's been eventful. I mean, right from turn 1, lap 1, we've had action, but we've also had some stellar displays by Shane Van Gisbergen. We had Tyler Reddick at the front. We've had Kyle Busch.
Well, you definitely have 2 different styles of cars. It looks like SVG's car doesn't take off very well. He's talked about the front tires not working well. It looks like the 45 car takes off good, and AJ Allmendinger has put himself in position to be a contender in this race. But right now, Kyle Busch has control.
Leave some meat on the bone for me, boys. I'm telling you, Allmendinger, you took the words out of my mouth. Allmendinger, AJ Allmendinger made that pass on SVG. I think that's important. He's going to be hard for SVG to get back around, but keep your eye on Bell and Byron. Those cars are both capable of getting the job done as well. I think they're slowly but surely, methodically getting back up to the front where they need to be.
And back into the top 10 are Briscoe, Chastain, Reddick, and Hocevar, all of whom have been stories today. Well, here's Alex Bowman.
I lost 5 spots already. Like, tell me you've never competitively driven a race car without telling me you've never done Yeah, they're going to use common sense and don't want to over-officiate.
Totally understand. It's bad timing. There was nothing. I mean, you went off the track. There's no question. But the biggest hit there was the fact that caution came out. We talked about this in the pre-race. That's a thing, right? It's potential, and that's exactly what happened. It was before he got a chance to serve the penalty. It bit him. The caution came out. Now you got to go to the tail end of the longest line.
Well, you talk about luck, right? And
luck.
Sometimes it's just bad luck, and the timing of that just didn't work out for them, and unfortunately came at a bad time.
The worst time.
Now, Larry, everybody was on pit road between lap 40 and 43, with the exception of Michael McDowell, who is still out there. He has not pitted since lap 23. Do you have an idea of what his strategy might be, and can it be successful?
Well, I don't think he can hold a light to those cars up there, especially he's got 20 more laps on his tires. This could buy them a better finishing position. But right now, Michael McDowell and everybody else has to make one more trip to pit road. I think McDowell comes somewhere probably around lap 59 or 60. And honestly, for everybody else, Mike, that's when the window opens to make it to the end. They may run a little longer, but lap 60 is the magic number essentially for everybody to pit and make it to the end.
All right, we're cleaning up here in Austin with 43 laps to go, and Kyle Busch in command of the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix. The UFL is back. Skip Holtz and the Birmingham Stallions. A spring dynasty now chasing a 4th title. The rest of the league, though, is coming for their crown. The new season kicks off March 28th on Fox. Here in Austin, Texas, your Progressive race summary. 7 different leaders led by Shane Van Gisbergen for 20 laps and Kyle Busch for 13. 12 lead changes, still 34 cars on the lead lap. Make that 35 as Kyle Larson gets the free pass. Bubba Wallace, Ryan Prix won the stages. Now, can Kyle Busch, winless in 59 attempts, hold off road race ringers A.J. Allmendinger and Shane Van Gisbergen and Michael McDowell? The first test will be turn 1.
Yes, it will.
Well, they're going to all be more aggressive. I mean, we're just in that window that we're running out of laps and time to be able to put yourself in position to win this race. And you know, we've seen Kyle Busch take off good. We know Allmendinger will be aggressive. The 88 struggled on the restarts, just kind of launching, and then you've got McDowell on the outside of row 2 that, you know, he took off better than we thought he would, but he still got old tires.
You keep an eye on that row 3 too, Byron and Bell.
Then Briscoe, Chastain, Reddick, and Hocevar, the top 10, as we go back to green.
Told you, there's Bell to the inside of SVG.
Way to the inside, right down against the line. They're going to be 3 wide into the corner.
Here comes Byron as well.
And Briscoe to the inside. Kyle Busch gets away first.
Well, we see Allmendinger get shoved wide, and that's the tough part of being about the last car on the outside. You wind up taking a chance of getting off in the gravel right there.
12 wheels corner better than 4, don't they?
I guess. Sure looked that way. That corner is just so inviting to dive that car onto the inside.
It's a big restart for Kyle Busch and A.J. Allmendinger.
Yeah, and you see the 88 car of SVG still going backwards.
Clear. Take the 4 out back. Out back.
That's Bell and Briscoe. Briscoe got through there, and Byron. They've all got SVG.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the 88 car of SVG just doesn't fire off well, and we saw him have to defend against Christopher Bell right there, and now Bell's up into 2nd place, and we think that car has been a contender all day on the long runs, and now he's got the track position to go with it.
Well, he's behind McDowell, who's a very aggressive road racer on those worn tires. Van Gisbergen, or rather, that's Chastain to the inside. Now they're on McDowell. That'll be for 7th.
Yeah, I think the scoring monitor just hasn't switched right there, the pylon mic, but definitely can't get too far behind if you're Shane Van Gisbergen or Ross Chastain. Lose touch of those leaders.
Fantastic restart for Bell and Byron both, but Briscoe, wow, where did he come from?
Well, you've been pointing your finger at him all day, and he's just been lurking over there on that scoring monitor. Now they're in contention to have a chance to win this race as we go and make our last pit stop and see where this goes on the long run. But we're fairly certain that the Gibbs cars are good on the long run. Kyle Busch's car has been solid, but I don't know if it's been as good as Bell's.
40 laps to go. Larry Mack with these extra caution laps that they ran, cleaning up outside turn number 19. What does that do to our window? How early could you stop?
Yeah, Mike, they ran 4 caution laps. I think the window realistically opens about lap 58, about 3 laps from now. But I think a magic number's lap 60. That maybe builds you a little bit of insurance for an overtime. But I think you're going to see some drivers run long on this run, maybe as long as lap 70, just trying to catch a caution.
All right, let's check with Regan.
Mike Conner-Zilic checked and released from the care center. Not the start of the race that you wanted or the end, but in the middle stages, a lot of speed. What are the takeaways from today?
Yeah, I mean, we had a really fast Red Bull Chevrolet. I've had so much fun preparing for this event, and that second stage, driving from outside the top 30 to 14th, I think was a lot of fun, and passing a lot of guys that I used to watch on TV growing up. So hopefully I'll be able to get the chance to come back and do this again. I had an absolute blast driving through the field and wish it didn't end early.
Thanks, Connor.
Oh, he'll be back.
And it's getting worse for Alex Bowman. Saw him turned around.
That's usually how those days go, Clint. When they're bad, they just get worse. And sometimes you just have to battle through it. And
saw Byron looking to the inside of Briscoe. Yes, sir. Got the pass.
William Byron is the only one of the Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets that has had a trouble-free day here so far. Kyle Larson just got back on the lead lap with the free pass at that last caution flag. Here's some Byron audio.
I think some people won't stop. Is that what you're saying?
We're going to go back green, and people are going to pit in about 3 or 4 laps, and they're going to try to go to the end. If we don't pit then, you know, because we don't want to run 37 laps on a set of tires, so you got to run at least 10 laps longer than that guy's at first pit. So you have enough advantage so you can actually pass him.
Varying strategies here. Regan.
Mike, unfortunately for Daniel Suarez, second week in the row we meet over here at the Infield Care Center. Looked like you caught the curb. How disappointing is it with as good as you were today?
It's very disappointing, Regan. This is not the way I want to talk to you. Our car was good. I thought we were going to have a top 5 run. I don't know if we're good enough for the win, but a top 5 run for sure, top 7 maybe. And lower pressure, the car is lower, you know, it hits everything harder, and I just hit the curb, you know, that big sausage right there, and it spin me out. And unfortunately that my teammate Connor was out there, and he hit me, and I ended up my race and his race. You know, I could have spun out on myself and keep going, but unfortunately he was there, and sometimes it's hard. You have to make a decision to go left or to go right, and there's a little bit of smoke, and unfortunately he decided to go right, and there wasn't much room there. So a little bit unfortunate, but nothing we can do now to learn and move on.
Thanks, Daniel.
This track is picking up. You see the shade on the racetrack. It's getting darker out here with the cloud cover, and guess what else is happening? Lap times are picking up. Christopher Bell finally made his fastest lap of the race by the first 2 cars, as a matter of fact, first time in the 1:39.2 bracket.
Wham, that's a hard hit there.
Yeah,
laps turn 6B.
And just like we thought, I think that 20 car, as we run right here, he's going to be better than this 8 car. But the shade coming over the racetrack has definitely picked the pace up.
And that'll work in other people, you know, some people's favor and not the other. I mean, it changes the conditions of the racetrack, and depending on the handling characteristics of your car, it'll affect it one way or another.
Busch and Bell a car length apart. 2 seconds on William Byron. And a second back to Briscoe, Allmendinger, Van Gisbergen. And coming up around the turn, NASCAR from Phoenix on FS1 next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, the first of 6 straight weekends or races on FS1. Then the NHRA Gainesville next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on FS1. And IndyCar returns from the Thermal Club Sunday, March 23rd on Fox. Riding with Ryan Prix in 16th. He and teammate Chris Buescher nose to tail. And finally, Michael McDowell comes for service after being on a completely different strategy.
And now you see those guys getting into turn 6. They're actually cutting that corner now that they all know that they don't have to worry about the track limits that in that corner. They're all cutting it straight to the grass to get that entrance even wider into 6A.
That'll be changed next year. You watch.
And when I look at 6, it's almost like the NASCAR is saying, okay, well, the grass is going to limit you from going too far over there anyway. So, but they all know now.
Right.
And you don't have to look any further than that track map right there. That corner, turn 6, you know, leading you on to 6A. You cut that off because of the ability to. It really sets you up for a good 6A and moreover a good exit to 6A.
There's a couple young hard chargers. Hocevar going by Gregson for a 10th spot, and Ryan Blaney right there with him. Hocevar's been in the top 10 most of the day. And we're on board with a Toyota cam for Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, and I'm glad we pulled this camera up, because right now you're going to start to see, you're going to start to feel as a driver, you're really going to start to feel the physical aspect of what's happening today. And see Chastain and Reddick kind of missed the apex of turn 1, but look at his right hand. I mean, there's just a lot of shifting. There's a lot of left to right corners that put the G-forces from one side of your body to the other side of the body, which affects your core, and all these bumps. And as we go into 6 right here to the right and back through 6A and 6B, you're going to see the impact of the driver as you go over the bump, especially as we come off this corner right here off of 6B.
And the WeatherTech cam for Shane Van Gisbergen, right foot braking, unlike just about every stock car driver ever. And what we call heel and toe, usually it's with the heel tapping the gas and the toe tapping the brake. Now it's more of a ball of your foot on the brake and your little toe over on the gas pedal.
Watch his head, guys. Yeah, I mean, look how far ahead how far he's turning his head to look as far ahead as possible in the corner. And that is, you know, something that really you can see really well as he gets loose right there going into 16, kind of a corner that it just seems like it'll never end, and he got loose getting into that corner. A lot of partial throttle right there. See that heel toe into where Daniel Suarez spun out in 19 right there, and down into 20. You ride this curb under braking, you feel the vibration of that curb as you go over it, but you want to have that extra distance to the right to get a better angle to the apex.
There's the separation with Byron third, Briscoe, Allmendinger, and Van Gisbergen. While those two young guns were battling, there was contact.
Well, that's
6A.
That's right into 6A, and we've talked about that passing zone right there all day. And if you don't give, it puts you in a position right there to take a tire in the door. So Hocevar took a tire in the door and kept going and kept his position.
And a little surprised he would try that pass on the outside, because that's what got him into the tire pack at the outside of 6A in yesterday's race.
These first two guys are pushing each other to the max. Another fastest lap of the race for them, 139.75, a 67 behind him for Bell.
Yeah, as you go back to Hocevar right there, you see that Noah Gragson has gone by him. So that track position actually worked out good for Noah.
Absolutely.
Gained a couple spots with that move.
Christopher Bell, boy, 2 races in a row where he's just in the right place at the right time. But don't forget, we have one more pit stop to come.
Well, we saw Bell drive right up to the rear bumper of Kyle Busch. And as we talk in a lot of these places that we go, the front end of the race car just doesn't turn as good when you get close. So he's going to have to be right there when Kyle Busch makes a mistake, or he's going to have to start getting substantially better than the pace of Kyle Busch's car. It's going to be a tough pass.
35 laps to go. Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, celebrating 100 years of an American icon. Here's the Goodyear blimp view of Circuit of the Americas. Larry Mack?
Well, I want to go back to what Rudy Fugle told William Byron just a few laps ago. Yeah, the window's open for everybody to make it to the end. And, of course, we saw Michael McDowell pit about 3 laps ago. But Stephen Duran just showed Shane Van Gisbergen, that's 10 laps on your tires. I want to run 10 more. I think the whole repercussion is they don't want to have to run 35, 36, 37 laps on their tires. So I think that's why they're going to run a little further.
Thanks, Larry. Now I wonder, will the leaders pit together? They did earlier in this race. A dive to the inside by Allmendinger. Now, is there an advantage to pitting together? Is there an advantage to not pitting on the same lap?
I think it's an advantage of just hitting your marks and making no mistakes, minimizing mistakes, and that might mean pitting different laps from one another.
But if one of those top 3 pits, you better not be far behind them. You're going to be giving up a lot of time to sticker fresh tires.
That's exactly right.
All right, we're going to step away as we come to 34 to go, but we're going to go Fox side by side. So drivers head for pit road. You won't miss a thing. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, William Byron out in front in Austin, Texas.
Next week, NASCAR roars into Phoenix, Arizona. Friday, ARCA Menard Series racing begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Saturday, NASCAR Xfinity Series racing begins at 5 p.m. Eastern on the CW. Sunday, it's NASCAR Cup Series action on FS1 at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listings or go to NASCAR.com for the latest tune-in information.
32 laps to go. Van Gisbergen Briscoe for 5th place. Allmendinger just ahead.
Yeah, these two guys have been going at it right here.
He was blocking him, holding him up there, and he's going to cost himself 2 positions because of it.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just the case of when to give and just say, okay, I need to concede this position. But like you say, now he wound up fighting there, and Briscoe cost himself 2 spots and one extra.
Finally had enough and pushed him up out of the way in 20, and then Reddick got around him too.
Kyle Busch continues to lead Christopher Bell and William Byron. In fact, of the first 8 drivers, 2nd through 8th, every one of them has been to victory lane since Kyle Busch's last win.
It's been interesting to see the gap kind of come and go as these guys have gone through the laps. A lot of times I can't tell if Kyle Busch is better or worse. I'm sorry, Christopher Bell is better or worse, yeah. But I think his car is better if he can actually just make the pass and get some clean air.
He makes a run at him, just like you said, gets right to his bumper, can't do anything with him, and it's like his brain and his mind's telling him, all right, back up, let's save our tires, and then he runs right back to him. But make no mistake, these two have done everything on this racetrack but win. They've been 2nd, they've been 3rd. These guys got a win coming. There's been 4 different winners at this race. Can they add their name to the list? One of these two.
Now, the ebb and flow of these 2 leaders indicates to me that Christopher Bell is not showing everything he has.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. I mean, that's why it's hard to tell. And I
that's
think
why it's fun to watch.
Some of that is this racetrack, because it has such different sections of the racetrack where you go up the hill, you have heavy braking, sharp corners, and then you dive down into 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's got that flat flow of the S's. So really what you want in those sharp corners and the forward drive corners is a lot different than probably what you would want out of your car in the S's.
Well, I think they're giving you all they got. The biggest thing is they've still got a stop here, and that's going to the mistakes from within. Look how much they're cutting that corner off now. That's the stop is going to make, you know, the difference in the end of this race.
I don't think there's a more motivated driver on this racetrack than Kyle Busch. I want my kids to see me as a winner. He has said he won a truck race this season. Some would say taking candy from the kids in the truck series. Some would also say yesterday Connor Zilic stole all the candy from the grown-ups in the Xfinity Series. Okay, that's racing, but it's been 59 races since Kyle Busch has been to victory lane in NASCAR's premier series, the one he races in every week and the one in which he most wants to score.
Well, it's been one for the other one, so let's see who wins.
1 week, right?
Rear tires are going away.
There it is. Rear tires are going away. How many laps more will they go?
Well, I think that's going to be the interesting part. But as these cars start to wear the tires, I mean, the workload just continues to go up, and you're kind of managing the slide of the cars as you go through the corner. We've had a lot of foot cams today and been able to watch the footwork on the braking zone. But now that we have this camera right here, you're going to see these guys work the wheel, and as they go up the hill into turn one, you know, this is a corner where you have to turn your head all the way, and you don't really pick up the apex. When you're looking to the left, you don't really pick that apex up until you're about halfway into the turn towards it, because it's such a sharp corner.
I'm not sure these two exchange Christmas cards. They do have a history together.
Yeah, it was here.
Here's a look at it. Yep. That was 3 years ago, and this was last year.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just what happens when you're racing in the front. But Kyle Busch, he was not happy about the way that the last one went in 2024. So he voiced his displeasure with Christopher Bell after the race.
"29 laps to go." And these two, who, as Clint pointed out, both set their fastest laps of the race at lap 60, 6 laps ago. Christopher Bell has the fastest lap of the race, followed by Busch, Byron, and Reddick.
You heard how rough it is right there as you come off of 19. You hear that car bounce over the bumps and actually touch the rev limiter.
I want to give a shout out to Justin Haley right here, running in the top 10. Great effort out of his camp. Holding a pretty wheel out there. Justin Haley, top 10.
Well, we've talked about Spire. We've talked a lot about Carson Hocevar, my old crew chief. Rodney Childers is the crew chief on this particular car. So I have some good conversations with them and the things that they've been doing to try to make their race cars better. And we've seen some crashed race cars from Justin in the first 3 events that we've covered. But today has been a solid day and definitely has more speed in their cars than they had last year for sure.
Well, he's the leader of the Young Guns category, drivers 25 years of age and younger. He had a runner-up on the road course at Chicago in 2023.
To SVG.
All right, Bubba Wallace getting that final pit stop here. Quickly in and out. That'll begin the pit cycle.
Well, let's not forget all the struggles that the 8 car has had on pit road. This will be the most important pit stop that they've had of the year to execute correctly.
With a lot of pressure on them.
This week, Fox College Hoops Friday tips off at 8 Eastern with a Big Ten showdown. 20th ranked Purdue looks to stake their claim for the conference crown against UCLA. Look back at our pole sitter Tyler Reddick. He's in 6th place, 9 seconds off the lead. A little further back in 8th, we hear Ross Chastain is headed for pit road this time. And here is William Byron in the pit lane. And Tyler Reddick. Business is picking up.
And 19 and the 1's coming. Briscoe and Chastain.
Josh?
Well, for Ross Chastain, we're running in the top 10 for most of the day. His only complaint about that car is a little too tight right now. 4 tires for him on that side.
Scheduled pit stops under green to get you to the finish.
And I would think this will pull the rest of them the next lap, wouldn't you, Larry?
I would think so, Clint. These drivers right here, they got about 16 laps on their tires. They're going to have to go 27. We've already heard about drivers complaining about the rear tires are gone. That's one reason I think they wanted to stretch this run a little longer, is to not have to run that many laps to the end.
And the guys up front, they have a little bit of space to burn, Clint. You know, even if you're giving up a second or a second and a half a lap, you've got some time to burn, and that gap between the first several cars is pretty big from fourth on back.
We're hearing the leader may come this time, and that would be with 26 to go.
Money stop, Clint.
Yes, it is. And here they come.
First gear, all blue.
Down to pit road speed and on the way to Caitlin.
Bell staying out.
Well, we heard them mention that strategy, that they want to run a little bit longer to get some fresher tires. Caitlin?
Well, Kyle Busch, you see him coming in. He's been pretty quiet on the radio. The main feedback he says is it takes too long to fire and get going. That's what Kyle Busch has said. Quiet otherwise as we approach potentially ending that 59 race winless streak for the A team, guys.
Oh, I like that stop. No
Stop.
apparent mistakes. A clean stop, just what they needed.
Do not speed.
So
Justin Haley on pit road.
Yep, Haley makes a stop. Christopher Bell staying out, trying to pit one lap later, get himself one lap fresher tires for this run to the finish than Kyle Busch is going to have.
Well, you look back at Allmendinger and SVG having those fresher tires as they get towards the end of this race. If a caution or something does come out, or just being able to capitalize on the speed of the tires, it all just depends on the circumstances of the end of the race. And I think from third, fourth back, I think those guys figured that they needed a little help if it ran green anyway, so why not take a chance?
This is the race, and that's exactly the decision. I mean, that's a lot of laps on the racing to go, like Larry alluded to, and I want my tires to be good at the end of this.
Well,
thing.
the best news for Kyle Busch is that he came out in front of a whole pack of cars that were already on the racetrack, and now he's at the head of that group, so he should be able to have clear track and minimize his time or maximize his time gained on these new tires instead of being stuck in the middle of a pack trying to pass.
All right, Allmendinger in the pit lane, and again, Christopher Bell goes by and stays on the racetrack. Regan?
Mike, after that last restart, A.J. Allmendinger thought that maybe he had a little bit of an issue with the front steering after some contact on that restart. Otherwise, he has been abnormally quiet on the radio all day long. Hasn't said much about the car other than he liked it after he needed front turn early on.
So Allmendinger is away. Now Kyle Busch is the first of those who stopped. We saw Blaney go through.
Last year, Bell did this same thing. He ran long and almost ran down the leader, the eventual leader, William Byron.
Well, and right now, that's why they're telling Kyle Busch that he needs to maximize everything that he can with these laps, that he's on new tires, clear racetrack to match everything that Christopher Bell can do on his tires. So it's, it's a game of time right now.
And you saw in the pits, they're waiting on Christopher Bell this time. Clear racetrack ahead of Kyle Busch.
Gosh, he got so lucky right there with the positioning of where he came out compared to that pack of cars.
Here he comes, pitting this time. Christopher Bell, you
First gear, 9 red.
So Bell led 2 laps and now comes in for what should be his final stop of the day. Caitlin?
Yeah, talking to crew chief Adam Stevens earlier, he was very complimentary of Christopher Bell's road course prowess with those 2 road course wins that he's had, but he's been very quiet, except saying the rear tires are going away. Remember, he was the runner-up at this race a year ago, trying to improve that by 1 spot.
Alex Bowman, course limits turn 4 as his tough day continues. Denny Hamlin on pit road.
So right there, Clint, you see SVG ran a 1:41.3 and Kyle Busch ran a 1:40.13. So.
And I'm glad you said that, because the last lap of the 20 car was in the 1:42 second bracket, way off the pace. So I figured they were coming that time, and it was. He was falling off too much. SVG, to your point, still is running a good lap time.
So before pit stops, Busch and Bell, when they were right together, they are now separated by 6.5 seconds. That's how much Kyle Busch has made up with fresh tires over these last couple of laps.
Yeah, and Bell fell into that group that we were talking about. Kyle Busch not being so lucky to, or being so lucky to be in front of. So Bell is now behind the 2 car, the 5 car. So he's got a couple cars in between him.
Very reminiscent of the last race here. That's a lot of racing left, 24 laps to go.
Now, Austin Cindric has had a horrible weekend since practice. Did not qualify well, said it's the worst car he has ever had, and raced in the mid-30s the whole first half of this race. But through pit cycling, he's now up into the top 5. He was last on pit road at lap 41, trying to make the best of what had been a bad day.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned him, because it'll be short-lived, Mike.
Absolutely.
But they, you would expect Austin to be really good on the road courses, and they have had, we thought they were okay in practice, best of the Fords probably, but they have really struggled since the qualifying session all the way into the race.
Ryan Blaney got us up to 2nd spot before making his stop.
Larry, is it surprising you that Van Gisbergen is staying out this long?
Yeah, the only thing I can figure that Steven Duran is trying to do is basically split it in half. That way he's not having to run a lot of laps on either set of tires. But the downside, and I know cautions have been few and far between, the downside, if a caution comes out, his day is done. His day is done to these guys that just pitted for 4 fresh tires.
Well, I don't think they thought they could win, Larry. I think that they just were like, hey, we got to do something different, because they were just too far behind. And if this, if we get to the end of this run and those tires fall off a cliff, that might be his only chance.
And we're hearing a couple more laps before he will make his stop. Van Gisbergen, that is.
And Mike, that'll about split it in half right there. That'll be very close to it.
I think it's going to surprise these other cars that fall off. We haven't seen this many laps run all day, and you told us that, Larry. I like this call. I think the back half of this run is going to be very important to have speed, and it might play right into his favor as well as Bell.
So Van Gisbergen is going to need to run, let's say, 5, maybe 6 less laps on his tires than Kyle Busch. Kyle's going to have to get 26 laps out of this set of tires.
Still there.
Without abusing them. And we're told they're not going to wait. Van Gisbergen will come in this lap.
Well, you see Shane going through turn 2 right here, so it's definitely.
You sure? Yeah, copy.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good up here leading all by myself. You sure?
And guys, he's complained the entire race, not good on fresh tires and low air pressure.
Well, one thing that will help that is clean air, and I think it'll be interesting to see where he comes out on the racetrack, because I have a feeling he's going to be right in the middle of that group that Christopher Bell was in because of the time that he's lost. So he's going to wind up somewhere in that traffic.
Josh Berry on pit road, and Van Gisbergen this time.
Green flag stop certainly won't help the case of being slow taking off,
Hitting this
because you
time,
don't have the
jump to
chance to
behind.
build the air pressure up under a caution, stage in, or something like that.
So the only cars in the top 10 that have not made this pit stop are Van Gisbergen, Austin Cindric, and Todd Gilliland.
Well, it's certainly given up a lot of speed. It's not going to necessarily be a good scenario
Hitting
unless
this
this
time,
thing
nothing
runs
behind you.
green all
Hitting
the way
this time.
through and he's able to make up the difference.
Moderating pit road speed. 16-second lead coming in on Kyle Busch. Here's Regan.
Mike Laramack is exactly right. He has, in particular, been complaining ever since this set of tires went on the car that there was no grip anywhere. He did finally report to crew chief Stephen Doran at the end of that run that it was starting to come to him, starting to feel pretty good overall for the lack of grip that he has had. They'll do 4 tires here.
Be ready, be ready. Go hard, 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 hard. All the way, all the way. Remember your zone.
All right, he leaves his pit stop in 3rd spot, but about 5 cars are going to overhaul him before he gets out on track and up to turn number 1.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, was he was going to fall into that pack that Christopher Bell fell in, but he's going to fall all the way to the back of that pack behind Todd Gilliland and Chase Briscoe right there. So now he's got several more cars that he's going to have to work his way through to even have a chance, but it's going to be tough.
Now Gilliland on worn tires, hasn't been to pit road since lap 47, but everybody else has fresh ones. So Kyle Busch back to the lead, Byron 2.3 back, Christopher Bell 5 back, Allmendinger 10, and Reddick 11. Now, thanks to Toyota, we're going to stay right here for commercial-free racing from Austin. Let's go Toyota all out. Riding with Christopher Bell, 5 seconds off the lead right now. His pit stop at lap 71. The last among the lead group, absent Shane Van Gisbergen, who came in at 74. Tyler Reddick started from the pole as 23.11 swept the front row, driving in tandem on their qualifying lap, and Bubba Wallace almost getting into the back of Reddick a time or 2 in qualifying.
And we didn't really know where Tyler Reddick's car was going to wind up on the long run, but he has definitely been off a little bit more on the long run than I'm sure they even thought they were going to be. But Chase Briscoe, he's had a great day. We've seen him battling hard, sometimes probably a little more than he needs to, but they've done a good job.
Much needed turnaround for this team from the first 2 races.
Now Briscoe still with that spoiler penalty from Daytona under appeal. Bubba Wallace did not much care for this track, but he was a lot happier about it yesterday after he won the outside of the front row for today's race, and he's worked his way solidly back up in the top 20, currently in 15th, 30 seconds back of the leader. So Bell has kind of been holding station here at about 5 seconds behind the race leader. That gap varies by half a second either way. A look at Ty Gibbs, who is in 23rd on the lead lap, 38 seconds out of the front spot, and last pitted on lap 69. Toyota Gazoo Racing determined to push the limits on the racetrack, and this season you can get an up-close look at the GR Garage showcasing Toyota's history of high-performance success.
Toyota is competing under the global Toyota Gazoo Racing banner starting this season. The Gazoo Racing brand has achieved success globally through Akio Toyota's pursuit of using motorsports to test and refine vehicles under extreme track conditions. At select races this year, fans can check out the GR Garage, which highlights Toyota's commitment to pushing the limits on the track to build ever better vehicles. Wherever Toyota races, Toyota Gazoo Racing competes as one, with every lap, every stint, and every race focused on building better vehicles.
You know, the number 99 IMSA GTP car was fielded by Dan Gurney's team. In his driving years, Gurney was NASCAR's ultimate road course ringer. He ran 9 races at Riverside, California in the 60s up through 1970. He won 5 of those 9, mostly for the Wood Brothers.
Well, here's the story. The story is your leader and then Christopher Bell. Keep an eye on this. This gap is shrinking, and it should. He stayed out a couple more laps on tires, and his tires are definitely newer, and he's running them down. Will that last? Will they keep running them down?
Well, he's knocked a second out of Busch's lead over the last lap and a half. Van Gisbergen there ahead with Briscoe now.
Well, we know he has the biggest tire advantage of anybody in the field with as long as he waited to pit. So made quick work of Briscoe right there.
That 15-second gap is a lot, though. Well, yeah, 15 seconds.
Yeah,
12 on me right there.
And like we talked, I mean, they knew that they didn't have a chance to win, so they wanted to put themselves in a position to where, you know, if something happens at the end of this race, they had better tires, and that was going to be their best shot. And he'll probably get pretty close to where he was on the racetrack regardless, but he's way behind compared to where he started.
Reddick alongside Allmendinger. This will be for 4th place.
Settle in here, man. Settle in. That's P5.
And Allmendinger with 2 lap fresher tires than Reddick, but unable to take advantage there.
Well, I can tell you 9/10 of a second on that lap is how much quicker Christopher Bell was than Kyle Busch. The thing that we don't know is Kyle saving some tire? Is he trying to put himself in a position to make sure that he's in a good spot at the end of this race? So we don't know that, but we just see the time shrinking.
What we do know is Christopher Bell just ran his fastest lap of the race.
By a lot.
He's went to the whip, right? I mean, we're off the turn 4 and going for it at a horse race, but can it last? There's still 18 laps to go.
Well, he doesn't need to.
Don't abuse those tires.
And he doesn't need to waste a bunch of time. Oh!
Wow. Austin Dillon.
Caution. The 11 car had a right front tire
That car's
down.
in the gravel. The 3 stuck.
Stuck in the gravel.
Yeah, he's stuck. Caution.
You're gonna see a caution.
In the 11.
Oh, big time stuck.
Racing for 20th place were Austin Dillon and
Caution
Denny
is
Hamlin. Yeah, that's high-sided. That's not coming out of there without the hook.
Bombed it in there and locked up both fronts and wiped you out.
All right, Kevin. Now who is a benefactor of that? That would be SVG. Those softer tires put him right back in contention with those guys. Caught up.
The fresher tires, you know, I think for SVG, I mean, that was exactly what they were hoping for. They knew that they weren't going to catch up because of how far they were behind. Now they've put themselves in a position for a tire advantage.
The question is, have they made the right adjustments today to give him fire-off speed? That car has not been that quick on restart.
But that's not the case anymore. He doesn't need to take the fire-off speed. That was low air pressure. In my opinion, it was low air pressure. That's back out the window. He's been running laps.
Okay. NASCAR will get Austin Dillon out of the kitty litter there. Here's what happened. Oh.
which is stupidity, but, you know, we're going to have to pay that back because I'm over people like that constantly doing dumb. That was some absolute bullshit. Yeah, for sure. The two just hooked you there. I got a flat or wheels coming off right, right front came off.
You all right, bud?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just couldn't see anything on so smoke.
You did amazing, buddy. You did nothing wrong today.
It's Denny Hamlin, and his brakes are already locked up by the time he gets to Austin Dillon. But
I'm not sure. I think that was dirt, Mike. I think he was sliding through the dirt right there that had built up on the racetrack because they keep running through the grass right through that section and throwing it backwards.
Now, they pulled Austin Dillon out of the kitty litter, but watch what happens as he drives away. When he was spinning his tires back there trying to get going, all of those pebbles had to go somewhere, and here they come.
I was going to say, if that's kitty litter, the cat's been in it, it's clogging up. Clotting up.
Good point.
Are you sure?
I've actually cleaned a litter box before. Yeah. I know you haven't. You already told us no maintenance at your house.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we had a lot of pit stops, but they are from 17th on back. Let's get an update from Regan.
Well, Mike, just to update the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen, we mentioned how he didn't like that last set of tires that was on the car. He struggled for grip everywhere. Well, right now, he said the car is much better with this set of tires, just a little bit free with the back of the car, meaning it's sliding around just a little bit. So keep an eye on him with those fresh tires and happy with it. And the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger, the exact opposite. He thinks he has a bad set of tires on the car. It's the first time all day long that he's been adamant on the radio complaining about how the car is driving. Unfortunately, they decided they had to stay out. They couldn't give up the track position right here. So kind of swap roles with these two cars.
All right, so the cars that did not pit under this caution are lining up in positions 1 through 17. I would say with some certainty that your winner is going to come from the first 6 positions right now, except for who's 7th. Remember how Ross Chastain started this race trying to lead it out of turn number 1 from 9th position.
Well, it's definitely, this is getting ready to get physical. I mean, it's going to be rough. You're going to have to take some chances. We saw Ross at the beginning of the race, you know, go down to the very inside and bulldoze a couple of those cars because he was just carrying too much speed. So I would say you're going to see that aggression here again.
Well, if you like door-to-door action, you're going to like next week. We move over to FS1 for the next 6 races. We're going to be in Phoenix, in the jewel of the desert, Phoenix Raceway. Pre-race at 2 Eastern, green flag for the Shriners Children's 500, 3:30 on FS1. And I am so glad to have 9 former Phoenix wins here in the booth with me. Let's see, that's 0 for me.
I think that's me.
You got pretty good there.
Yeah.
How many for you, Clint?
Oh, I didn't like that place. I liked it before they repaved it.
Yeah. Well, it was always a really good racetrack for me, and I was fortunate growing up as a kid. That was our Daytona 500. We would go to Phoenix every single year for the Copper World Classic at the beginning of the year. And so we got to race there a couple times and with the Cup cars. So it was fun to be able to have a lot of success there at Phoenix, and hopefully I don't think I'm going any further. I think 9's it, Clint.
Yeah, I'd say that's it, old buddy.
I'm sorry, Clint. Russell handed me the stat, and I thought we had a Quinella going here, but
a what?
Well, it's 9 for Kevin, and
what did you call it?
You and I have done. That's a Quinella. It's a horse racing term where you pick the first 2.
We've lost control.
Caitlin.
Yes.
Well, Mike, I'm with Randall Burnett, crew chief for Kyle Busch, who's in pretty good position right now. How impressed have you been with your driver's efforts today and the whole team as a whole?
Yeah, Kyle's done a great job today. We've had a really fast Chevy Rebel Bourbon Camaro. You know, it's been a great day for this 8 team. Great weekend, honestly. We unloaded and we weren't very fast right off the truck, so we all put our heads together and worked really hard on this thing and got us a really good car. You know, it's gonna unfortunate to see that caution. I think the 20 was a little bit better than us. He's got a couple of lap fresher tires, and that 88's got the freshest tires. So we'll see what happens here. It's gonna be exciting. Whatever happens, Kyle's done a great job, and this team's done a great job. So hopefully we can pull it off and see you over there in victory lane.
Thank you. Kyle Busch looking to end that 59 race winless streak, guys.
Well, Randall knows what he's talking about. He's got one of the best in the business as far as aggression on restarts with Kyle Busch as a driver, but there's all sorts of talk. We need to pay attention to the choose here. Will William Byron take that front road? What do you think, Kevin? Do you want the outside? You know they're going to be coming on the inside. Will you get shoved off the racetrack?
I don't want to be on the outside because this is getting ready to turn into a war. So this is what's getting ready to happen, full-blown battle. But I think that the inside gives you a position to be able to shove the guy off the track instead of the one being shoved out in the gravel on the outside.
All right, they're sweeping pebbles away from the Austin Dillon incident. So we'll take a quick break from Austin. Welcome back to the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix on Fox, presented by Toyota. 14 laps to go. Now, a couple of years ago, it took 3 overtimes to get this race finished. Turn 1, Calamity Corner, Clint.
It was one after another. Vividly remember this, Kevin. I know you were in it somewhere, but we could not get them through turn 1, caution after caution, attempt after attempt, and I think this is exactly what you're going to see again.
Yeah, I had gone to the back of the pack, and you just put yourself in a position to push the guy in front of you and shove him out of the way. So I think that we're getting ready for a pretty intense battle right here at the end of this race.
All right, we're going to set up for the choose and hear from William Byron's team.
I feel like 3 is probably the spot to be here for 1, but what do you think?
This lane gets jammed up, and it seems like it's almost worse. But if you're on the outside, you get shoved way wide. It's tough.
I think 3, you're guaranteed to come out the other side.
Yeah, I trust your judgment.
That's not what he chose.
No, it's not. But what he's talking about is, and we saw it with Ross, he tried to keep filling that hole. He just misjudged the speed and wound up going too fast and hitting a guy that was parked in the middle of the corner in the 9 car. But
I agree with Rudy, and he's right. Both sides, both positions have won and gained and lost. That inside clogs up as everybody blocks one another, and then another, and then another, because those dive bombs are coming. If you can get through that and not get pushed out, you're in the catbird seat. If not, you're going to get pushed way out and be in trouble.
I think you're right on the front row. I think that now that I sit here and think about it, I think that outside is going to launch good, and I think you're going to be, you might be 3 wide, maybe 4 wide, but you won't be 5 wide like you're going to be in the middle of the pack here.
Mike, you heard it. You heard it. He finally said it.
You're right.
I was talking about Rudy.
All right, Van Gisbergen has the best tires. He was in lap 74. Bell's tires are 3 laps older than Van Gisbergen's. Allmendinger another lap older. Kyle Busch another lap older. Byron and Reddick 2 more laps older.
Van Gisbergen is definitely on the best tires right here. And a very good race car driver.
Choose violation for Bubba Wallace from 21st. Here we go.
There you see it, that outside lane. We're already even.
Everybody's staying in line so far. Will anybody try to dive in? Here's Bell to the inside.
This is very orderly. Van Gisbergen
Byron
shoots the middle.
Byron split up the track. He actually missed a little bit, and then Allmendinger got in the back of him and made it worse.
Van Gisbergen got Tyler Reddick, who gave him a bump and passes him back.
They all got through somehow.
How about Noah Gregson up there for 7th to challenge the leaders?
And Bell was all sorts of sideways going through there. Great restart by Kyle Busch. He knew it was going to be. He answered that call.
Oh, Ty Gibbs. And more. Josh Berry is involved in it. Zane Smith, but they get going again. No caution.
Well, for those guys up front, I don't think that could have gone any smoother. And I think from those replays that we watched, the restart zone got changed because of all those restarts that we replayed. Now the restart zone is further back, so most of the pack gets spread out.
And we're seeing it again. Shane's just not being able to get his takeoff speed is off. He struggles to take off. His jump wasn't the best either. Now he's lost a couple positions with those better tires.
Ross Chastain moving up. 8th now. As Busch brings them up the front straightaway with Bell in tow. We're right back where we were prior to the caution flag and the pit stop.
This is it's gonna be teammates. Briscoe diving to the inside, takes out his teammate Gibbs.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that was just super aggressive move. They were already 2 wide. Briscoe put it 3 wide, and unfortunately his teammate right there was the one that got the bad end of it.
2 laps quicker, or excuse me, newer tires with Bell. He's right on his back bumper. Larry, what do you got?
Well, I know we've only had 2 cautions so far in the first 83 laps, for instance, but when you look at the 3 races here at COTA with the Gen 7 car the last 3 years, the final caution has come with 11 laps to go. You showed it a couple of years ago. We've actually had 2 overtimes, but forget all the numbers, guys. My experience, when you tell a driver at a road course with 10 laps to go, the wires just start sparking inside the helmets.
Well, we got sparks. We got sparks in the helmets, got sparks off the side of these race cars. See Logano and Chastain. Chastain way off the pace, or off the track. Now Van Gisbergen looking at his inside.
Yeah, and you see Van Gisbergen getting to the back bumper of Ross Chastain.
Well,
so.
it may have been a reason. That 12 was pretty close to him as well. Man, Shane's just not able to take off on those.
Look at the stack up there. Now they're 3 wide.
Chase Elliott, how about him? He's back. Boy, this would be a huge turnaround if he can get back in the top 10 and get himself a top 10 out of this.
What a battle here for 7th on back.
Man, look at Shane.
Chase Elliott came and got tires on that last caution.
Thank you, Larry. And Alex Bowman right with him. Well, we're about to find out how much Christopher Bell has left in the tank and if he was holding anything back, because time is running out. 11 to go as they come by.
And I think, as you see, Kyle Busch missed right there.
Big slip up out of your leader.
That's going to give Christopher Bell the opportunity as we get through these S's, if he can keep his car in the right spot, to have a dive into 6.
Here's the setup. Will he dive to the inside? There it is.
Left side dive, clear.
Just not close enough.
Yeah, but I think he's definitely got a better race car. Right now he's at the deficit of being behind Kyle Busch with the aero side of things, but his car is substantially better, I think, Clint.
Under braking especially, that's where I'm seeing him beating him. He's driving into the corners harder than
And I would
Kyle
say
Busch.
that has something to do with the tire advantage.
And if they keep this up, it'll draw William Byron right to them.
And the longer that this takes for Christopher Bell, the harder it's going to be to take advantage of him, as he has to do things that are offline and try to make the passes and being harder on his car. So you could see that advantage fade quickly. But still, right now, I would say that he definitely has a better race car. with those fresher tires.
Other than that one place where Kyle Busch slipped wide, I don't see anywhere on this track where he's at a disadvantage to Bell. Bell's going to have to find himself an advantage.
Well, you're just going to have to keep applying the pressure, force him into a mistake, which is what you had there.
Spinner at 20.
Be close enough to him. That's Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson.
He's right on him again through the S's.
And Larson has not refired. Not sure if that'll draw a caution or not. He's still trying to crank that car and get it going.
Here's the setup into 6 again. Looking to the inside, but Kyle Busch.
All right, Larson gets away.
Yeah, and I think at some point you're going to have to use the front bumper right there to get him up out of the groove, to check him up, to get up alongside of you.
Well, Kyle's certainly leaving the door open in that 6A right there. That's the passing zone, and that's where Christopher Bell really closes in on him. I think he's through 6, where we were talking earlier. He's cutting that track a little bit more and straightening himself up for the entrance of 6A.
Well, you can't take too long right here, Mike. If you're to the bumper and you're 10 laps from the end of the race, you've got to use the front bumper. If you don't think you can make it happen that quick, you're going to start losing those opportunities if the car starts going away.
And once he gets into Busch's bumper, that is going to put William Byron right on top of the both of them.
Bingo. And he's already there. He shrunk the gap a lot. 140.16 to 140.40 on the leader right there. Byron.
Nice run for Gregson in 6th. Haley in 7th. Logano is up to 8th. And Gisbergen has slid to 10th behind Chastain.
Well, that's as close as the 20 car has been off of turn 20.
Looking to the inside again. See that braking is way better. Oh, he missed!
He almost wrecked. You're good. You're
missed
good.
it.
And here's Byron for the taking, but man, that was close. About wiped them both out. That'd have been big.
Clear.
Handed
All right,
it to
take
Byron.
it off. Go get him. We're good.
I was saying he was better under braking, and I saw him floor. See how much he's cutting that corner off and setting himself up, carrying a lot of speed to 6A.
He's better everywhere, and when you see him get further back, it actually makes it look worse because he gets more air on the front of the car, and you really see the speed of the car.
Let's see it again here. Coming up the hill to turn 1.
Yeah, that's where he locked it up and finally had to lift off the brakes. That's the only thing you can do. When they lock up like that, the only fix is not a good answer because it means you're going faster.
Yeah, and he's going to get right back there. He's going to have to make something happen.
For me, I think he needs to set himself up, be good where he's at, and that's that passing zone in 6. Be there through the S's, put the pressure on him. Kyle Busch is a little bit slower. Tells me he's struggling a little bit in the speed of those S's laterally with his rear grip, and that's going to set him up for the pass. Just be there.
And leaving turn 1, I thought Byron would complete that pass on Bell. Just shows you how quick that 20 car is.
It also showed patience with Byron.
Well, you saw the back end of that A car slide off of turn 19 right there as he went over the curb.
Still a lot of racing left. This isn't the last lap. 8 laps to go. That's a long time around this place.
Tyler Reddick closing in from 3.5 seconds back. Then it's Allmendinger -6, Gregson -7. Logano and Chastain.
Kyle Busch has done a great job today. Had that car up front all day long. Hasn't slipped a wheel very often. Minimum mistakes out of the 8 camp all day long in the pits and on the racetrack. There he's cut that corner off like Bell. But look how much Bell's closed that gap up again. He is so good through the S's.
Christopher Bell.
Plenty of time. Entry arcs and set him up. Pass him in the passing zone. You can do it.
Sounds so easy.
It is. Set him up. Now I'm looking for the next one. Where's that at, Kevin? Get close to him through 20. Set yourself up for the top of the hill in turn 1.
Yeah, I think you want to surprise him right here in
that short
15.
shift.
He short shifted to keep from spinning the rear tires. I think as we go into 15 right here, into 16, you want to surprise him into 20. That would be one of the options. I mean, I think he's got as much faster as his car is. I think he's going to have several options as we get closer to the end.
Hey, catching Kyle Busch is one thing, passing him's the other. That's a cagey veteran behind the wheel of that car.
Yeah, we see Kyle move back down. That's as low as he's been through 19 to go over that curb.
There it is. All right, he got the run of 20. Now he's close. Will he take another dive at him?
2 car lengths separate the leaders as they climb the hill. 7 to go.
Still in line. In line, shading out 1 to the left. Not there yet. 1/2. Here again, left side, quarter, bumper. Good here. By 2.
Here we go.
Half. Right side bumper. Right side bumper. Clear, clear. Back out 1.
There's 6A again. This is a fantastic race. It's on.
Yeah, I mean, he is. Kyle Busch is definitely on defense right now, and William Byron's hoping, hey, man, I hope you guys get together so I can just drive right on by.
Make this easy for me.
It's happened here before.
And that's where you really start to see things happen. When you see the wide line that Kyle Busch is having to take, and Christopher Bell can keep that thing tighter against the curbs, but don't be surprised to see him dive right in on 15 right here.
Desperation's setting in. He's got to go because William Byron's on him. I would not be surprised to see him lay a bumper to him, but there has been history here between these two.
I would have already done it, Clint. I think you got to
better be careful biting that bull. That bull bites back.
I've been there.
You will get the horns.
Just remember, you got 0 for 59 against winner last week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of motivation riding up front there.
And I think Christopher Bell, like Clint is saying, he knows that. He knows that Kyle's going to do everything that he can do.
Here we go again, the top of the hill.
Car length and a half this time as they pass us just past the exit of 20.
So much better under braking, but I don't think he's close enough.
Nope.
Now I want to set up. Here comes 6 and 6A. Watch how much faster he gets through the S's if we can stay on this way.
Drives alongside
they're
and
into one
contact.
another. Careful here. Here comes Byron.
Well, that's the type of stuff that puts you in you put yourself in a bad position, and then you put yourself at risk of getting a penalty through the S's.
By 2 in line.
Byron is now right there. This is a 3-horse race. Reddick is coming.
From which one, Mike?
Yes.
They're all under crazy pressure. 8's holding on to this thing, holding them up and making his car wide.
Boy. Oh, got a little wide there, and Bell gets to the inside.
Pushing him to the out.
Still there, door. 24 with you. Still there, left, there. Don't run him out too much. 24 on you, pushing. You're clear. Trying to cross over, right side quarter.
Got to cross over.
Yeah,
right
Christopher
here.
Bell has been everywhere except in Kyle Busch's trunk, trying to get by him.
Right here, Clint. You got to push him wide.
Left side.
Bell to the lead.
It's not over.
No, and Kyle Busch now he needs to go right back at him with some sort of contact or something.
You're going to have to exit turn 1. Door to door with him,
yeah,
or cross over. He might cross him over here. Byron's there.
Oh man, that pressure from William Byron kind of limited his options, and then he missed turn 2 right there again.
Kyle's car is used up.
Yeah, he's had a lot of trouble in turn 2.
And Byron gets by. Kyle Busch has led 43 laps.
Christopher Bell used a lot of stuff up getting around Kyle Busch. Keep an eye on William Byron. He's going to put the pressure on him.
Well, that was what we were talking about earlier. When you're that close, here we go.
And Reddick's right there now because of it closing in.
By half. He's on you tight. He's looking to your right. He's on you tight.
Reddick's car is extremely good. If he can get around and make quick time of Busch, he'll be right there.
Byron wants this as badly as Bell does.
All clear coming off. Even at the straight here, bud. Hit your mark.
What I love is they have all run each other cleanly to this point.
Yeah, and you know, they've rubbed on each other a little bit, and it's been a very clean battle up until this point.
And if you're Christopher Bell, that's what you want to see in the rearview mirror. Reddick finally around Busch.
And a lot of times when you can just get a couple car lengths to catch your breath, get your rhythm back, get that car to drive up off the corner to get that little bit of a gap, then you can start to get back in a rhythm. But when you're beating and banging and passing in weird spots, it takes you out of that rhythm.
4 laps to go.
These guys ran first and second last year. Here's Reddick. You can see the speed in his car, the braking. Byron and Bell, first and second last year, the winner of the first 2 races. Can Reddick join the race here and add his name to a win?
Whew. Yeah, you see those cars just out of control, especially as they come through turn 5, transitioning on and off of that curb, just always pitches the car sideways.
I think Reddick's your fastest car right now if he can get around Byron. Any one of them make a mistake.
Noah Gregson up into the top 5. Chastain 6th, and Van Gisbergen has rebounded to 8th. Chase Elliott in the top 10.
How about Noah Gregson running 5th?
Yeah.
Well, as we look over the top of the first 4 cars right there, we talk about it all the time, Clint. These 3 guys running at the front of the pack. You know, what are those moments? We've seen them win in great moments. We've seen them put themselves in the playoffs. What's it going to take for these 3 competitors to be championship winners? And part of that battle is being able to be good on the super speedways, the short tracks, the road courses. And here we are, all 3 of these guys that we've seen up front the first couple of weeks of the season. William Byron, Daytona 500 winner. Christopher Bell, last week's winner. Now we're on a road course, all up in the front of the pack.
The numbers are saying that Christopher Bell is the best defender all day long today.
Well, the lead 2 each have a win in their pocket already this season. Does this mean they can take more chances, or is Tyler Reddick motivated to take more chances than them?
Well, as long as that Christopher Bell keeps putting distance between them, they're not going to worry about it. He's just got to stay on the racetrack, keep this speed up, stay smooth, hit your marks. Meanwhile, Mr. Where did he come from? Noah Gregson in 5th is blowing me away. I mean, we were so focused on this battle for the lead that you missed Noah Gregson and even Chase Elliott making his way finally back to the top 10. Huge rebound for them.
Gregson with about a 1.5 seconds on Chase Elliott, 5th to 6th. Kyle Busch has come over the radio and said the right rear is done.
He gave it his all.
Sure did.
Yeah,
he's slipping and sliding around big time. He just missed that corner.
And you saw it happening early. Oh, William Byron is right there. See the back of Bell's car out from underneath him.
You're pretty tight. By quarter. And tap you.
Here comes a crossover by Reddick.
On the outside for this corner, but
when you go through that infield section right there, Clint, if you start sliding the tires through 13, that thing just wants to drift around the corner all the way from 14 to 15. It just doesn't ever seem like you can get the back of that car hooked back up. But William Byron is there.
Not a good lap for Christopher Bell. You're exactly right. Two to go.
Back.
Let's see if we maybe a dive bomb. He's close enough. There it is, looking to the inside. Thought better of it.
Well, and what that did is it made Christopher Bell defend, and that's going to allow him to get a little shallower entry, and you're hoping that that will let you get a better exit off of the corner down into turn 2.
Gets him looking in that mirror and forces him into a mistake is what it does.
2 races in the book so far this year, and both were settled by a last lap pass. Will this be the 3rd in a row?
No pressure.
Good couple corners there by Bell.
Got some distance back in him. Not much, though. These guys are not going away easy.
Well, this is where he struggled the last lap, was getting into turn 13. And a lot of times in this position, like Tyler Reddick is in, you're in kind of this battle with yourself. All right, do I put pressure on him to take the pressure off of the guy in the front and take a chance of
another little slip
of getting second, or do I want these guys to stay in front of me so that I have a chance of some contact and give him the best opportunity to get to the back bumper of Christopher Bell?
It's all going to come down to the launch off turn number 20 this time. And it'll be 1 to go. We put the caution light in bottom of the screen just in case, because after the leader takes the white flag, next flag, caution or checker, will end the race. Now the light is not on. That's the sun reflection.
He didn't get into 20 very good, but he got off of 20 good. I'm talking about Byron, but I still don't think he's close enough. I think you're going to have to wait till 6A, Kevin.
Well, he's going to have to make something happen off of this corner right here to be able to get down the hill into turn 2 to be close enough for 6A.
Reddick really got into turn 1 very well, but loses ground heading into the S's.
Here we go. We're going to set up for the end of these S's. Bell got through there perfect.
Yeah, and it kept that dive bomb from being able to happen from William Byron. So running out of opportunities pretty quick right here for William Byron.
Just a couple more chances.
Last week, Bell led only the last lap, said, "I love super speedways."
Oh, boy.
What's he going to say about road courses today?
Well, he's going to have to survive 15. Well, you see the back of the car right there.
He's on him.
He's going to have to survive 15, Clint.
Oh, this is a different stride. Now he's going to try to do the crossover. It gives him a good drive up off the corner as he's looking to the inside. Not close enough.
Well, he's close. He's as close as he has been.
One more chance.
And Reddick drifts back a bit. 19 and 20 for all the marbles.
Well, you saw
him over coming into 20, the last corner, guys.
Christopher Bell went in shallow right there, so now he's got one last chance.
A defensive move, and here they come to the front straightaway. Bell grabs a gear, and that is going to do it. Christopher Bell goes back-to-back super speedway road course winner. Byron second, Reddick third. Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch.
Wow, how about Chase Elliott coming all the way back up to a top 5? Fantastic ending of that race.
Yes, sir, that is a winning streak, that's for sure.
That was a hell of a drive today.
That was a great race.
Yes, sir. Met his family in the infield while I was doing Tailgate Kings. His sister, all of his nieces and nephews, they were there. Great family, good kid. Hell of a race car driver.
Excellent job, guys. Excellent job. Thank you. 2 in a row, buddy. Great job.
His wife Morgan there with Coach Gibbs and the team. Post-race prayer. You know the last time a driver won 2 of the first 3 races in a season? 2018.
Thanks for your help, fellas.
There you go.
Heartbreaker for Kyle Busch. Unbelievable drive out of him. He wanted it. He was close.
Well, the good news for Kyle Busch today is they executed on all ends of the race. And Kyle Busch's car, you could see him wide right there, wide all the way through 13, 14. And Christopher Bell's car was just, I mean, he just had better tires at this particular point. You see Kyle locked the inside tire up, bang fenders right there, and off he goes. For the final time in turn 1, Kyle did all he could do.
Led the most laps, 42 laps led today. He'll be frustrated, but he keeps driving like that, and they keep giving him cars like this, he'll win a race.
Well, he's been in position to win.
Yep.
We can go all the way back to last year. They've been in position to win races. So if they just stay the course and clean up the mistakes like they did today, they're going to win some races.
It's the first time that Christopher Bell has won back-to-back races in his career. This is his 11th victory. And the 4th straight year in which he's won more than one race.
Well, these guys are I mean, they're championship contenders. Clint and I, we've all talked about it, you know, and now they're winning on different styles of racetracks, and one on a super speedway. He never thought he could do that, but we've seen them have success, and when they continue having it early in the season on different styles of tracks, that's dangerous for the competition.
Unofficial results on the left. Looked like Van Gisbergen and Busch made some gains there in the final couple of laps at the expense of Gregson. Bowman and Gilliland round out the top 10. I love that three-way battle, and I love that they didn't run all over each other trying to make the pass.
Yeah, and honestly, when you look at that restart, I think we all anticipated it being a lot more aggressive than what it was. But I think that where the restart zone is, it kind of spread that out. And these guys all put on a great show.
They took care of one another. They raced each other clean. That restart could have been a disaster. We've seen it, and these guys are professionals up front, and they proved it.
Look at these faces. That's been a day's work out there.
Well, this is a full day's work for these drivers with all the shifting, the banging up and down on the rub blocks as you jump these curbs, and all the roughness in the new section over there in 6A and 6B. These guys earned their money today.
Christopher Bell led twice for 8 laps. And in that final run, had tires that were a couple laps better than William Byron, Kyle Busch, and Tyler Reddick, but got the job done today with a minimum of contact. Josh?
Christopher Bell, 2 straight wins on the season. Christopher, you finished second here last year. What was the difference this year in terms of getting it done and getting that victory?
That was almost a deja vu of last year. I had the track position that time, and man, these road course races are just so much fun. And whenever Kyle was leading, I was just trying to be so cautious. Obviously, we know what happened last year. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to pass him clean. And he was just doing such a good job at running his race, and he could get off the corners just good enough that I couldn't get inside of him. But there I started, you know, peeking a nose, and he bobbled and allowed me to get out front. And whenever I did, I'm like, okay, just don't beat yourself. And those are about the 5 or 6 sloppiest laps I've ever run. But just so happy for these guys right here. They've been on me hard about winning with them, and Tony, we got another one. So just super proud for everyone on this DeWalt number 20 team. We didn't count last week. Last week was a speedway. We didn't have that one circled, but we definitely have this one circled, and I'm ready to keep adding to it.
C. Bell, your winner at Circuit of the Americas.
Well, what a battle there at the end of the race. William Byron, unfortunately, coming up just a little bit short. I saw you get out of the car. You look exhausted. You were giving it your all. How close was that? And what else did you need to do at the end there?
Yeah, it was really really close. Just, you know, I felt like the battle between he and Kyle, I was just kind of sitting there waiting for one of them to bobble or slide their tires, and Bell got by him, and I felt like once he got clear, his car was super loose, and it kind of gave me a couple shots at him. I just couldn't ever get beside him, and you know, we've always raced really well together, so I didn't want to like move him blatantly and you know, all that kind of stuff. So just yeah, just sliding around a ton there at the end. We came a long way this weekend. Really proud of that. We were pretty far off to start and got ourselves obviously raceable and in a position to win. So just you know, sucks to be so damn close, right? Like you can, you know, be on the bumper of the guy come to the line. That sucks, but a lot of races ahead, and hopefully, you know, we can just keep bringing this speed, and it's a good start to our road course program. Still a little bit of work to do, but thanks to Raptor, Chevrolet, Exalta, Liberty, all of our partners, been a good start to the year so far.
A lot of fun to watch. Thanks, William.
Those last 10 laps of 4 cars battling for the lead, some of the best road racing we've seen in NASCAR. Christopher Bell prevails by a couple of car lengths at COTA. Byron, Reddick, Elliott, Busch, the top 5. More from Austin after this.
So you heard from Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick. Again, Reddick comes home in the 3rd position. Chase Elliott finished 4th. He's obviously referring to, in that interview with Wendy Venturini, the contact that he and Ross Chastain had in the first turn on the first lap. So again, that's what he was referring to. He obviously wants to see a replay, but Chase Elliott comes home in the 4th spot. Xfinity fastest lap goes to Kyle Larson. He will go home out of Austin, Texas with 1 more championship point as a result of turning the fastest lap of the day.
William Byron looking for back-to-back wins here at COTA, talking to the media here, and we'll step in just a second as he talks to the media about looking for back-to-back wins. Man, you had your opportunities, but you raced them clean at the end. I know you're happy with that. You were able to race them clean, just not happy you couldn't get the final pass.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely gave it my best shot. You know, it's still kind of a little bit of contact here and there, but yeah, I didn't want to just blatantly knock them out of the way. You know, I felt like Hayden had a good car all day, and they had worked their way forward, and you know, we did as well, but we were just a little bit off and just needed a tick more. So yeah, I think overall it was a you know, good day, and we'll just move on from there.
That's William Byron, 2nd place finish today after winning a year ago. Wendy Venturini.
I'm with Kyle Busch, who comes home 5th today. They call it racing for a reason. How much more could you have pushed your car, Kyle?
No, that was it on pushing the car, but you know, had a really good car to be able to push that hard. So, excuse me. I just wish that you know, maybe we had equal tires to the 20. I don't know if that was all the difference. I know he was really fast. He had a good race car, but I feel like that might have been able to help hold me on a little bit better to him. But even that last yellow that we had, I felt like the gap that I had to the field, I was far enough out front. I could run the lines and clean lines, the lines that I wanted to preserve the tires and take care of him as much as I could to see if he would get there. But once we had that yellow, then it was just defensive mode, and you're in complete and utter just beat the heck out of the tires at that point, and I just didn't have it over the 20 left there. So hated that the contact we made between 2 and 3 ruined our race car too. Just it bent the right rear toe link and knocked everything out of it. So I just didn't have anything there at the end to compete with those guys, and you know, that doesn't go for what our
We're live at Austin, Texas, Circuit of the Americas, and it may be Longhorn country, but from Norman, Oklahoma. That's your winner in victory lane. Christopher Bell goes back-to-back, started 19th, moved up quick, never fell back, but had to fight off or at least overtake Kyle Busch. And when it mattered the most, Jamie McMurray, he answered the bell. How was he able to do it?
Nice line. Yeah, I mean, it was incredible to see if he was even going to be able to get by Kyle Busch. You just weren't sure, like, was Busch going to be able to run that defensive line enough to hold him up? But then it drew William Byron and it drew Tyler Reddick in. Amazing battle at the end, and Bell was able to get it done.
Yeah, showing a lot of versatility, obviously, coming off the win of last week. A very different kind of track today, physically grinding. We're going to hear from those that he had to fend off as he continues to celebrate in his Toyota, or now out of his Toyota, with his crew and the confetti flying here in Texas. We'll continue live. We hope you stay with us. There's your winner. 4th straight year that he's won more than one race, and we're going to Phoenix next, where he won last year. Let's head to the booth.
Well, what a finish. Kyle Busch trying to defy time and fading tires. And here comes Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, all trying to go for the win. A great, clean race. Some of the best road racing I've ever seen in NASCAR.
Well, it's definitely been one of the better races that we've had in this next-gen car, but Christopher Bell definitely had a tire advantage. Kyle Busch did an absolutely great job defending him as long as possible, but in the end, he just got out-tired, and Christopher Bell had a faster car.
Well, you talk about the Gen 7 car. Since we've went to this Gen 7 car, those two drivers in particular, William Byron and Christopher Bell, have been the name of the game. Those guys put on an unbelievable show. SVG was there. You had your ringers. Allmendinger, poor Allmendinger, he ended up clear in 30th place somehow. But right off the bat, turn 1, you got Chase Elliott get wiped out at the beginning. He ends up in 4th place. So just an amazing day here at COTA. This is a cool racetrack. I'm so glad they shortened this place. It made all the difference in the world for a good race today.
That it did. So we head for Phoenix with Christopher Bell looking for 3 in a row. And who won there last year? C. Bell.
All right, Jamie, very impressive. We're only 3 races in, but Bell already showing us a lot.
Oh, I mean, the fact that he was able to win, on a drafting type track and then come to a road course and put it all together, Chris, he's got to be in the championship favorite right now.
Yep, he's shown championship material in the past. In his 6th season, for our entire crew, from the IndyCar racing in St. Pete to NASCAR here in Austin, we'll see you next weekend. Thanks for being a part of it all.
Troy Green.
The top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road was some rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when we see it in lights. We are the champions. We are the champions. We will fight through the pain. We'll be legends tonight. We are the champions. We are the champions.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.